Chapter 302. The concern in Lu Qinyue's eyes gradually dissipated. She was originally worthy of being the undisputed goddess in the eyes of all the cultivators in the Azure Water School. Since Bailey Hongzhuang appeared, all this had become precarious for her. Number 1. Beauty. Everyone had already began discussing it. It could be said that she and Bailey Hongzhuang were equally supported. The identity as an alchemist also added quite a bit in her favor. However, she never thought Bailey Hongzhuang would have mastered the long-lost vibrating needle technique. With the identity of godly doctor hanging over her head, it wasn't any weaker than that of an alchemist. If Bailey Hongzhuang was also an alchemist, then she would be completely defeated. However, her thoughts were the same as Dongfang Yu's. One's concentration and energy is limited. It's impossible to master everything. Moreover, the conditions to become an alchemist were harsh. Where would there be such a coincidence? Gong Xiaoqing looked at the many students below. This was only the situation inside the school. Outside there are many more who wish to find Bailey Hongzhuang. Yesterday, when he saw that scene at the city square, he had already surmised that such a situation would occur. Channel opening pill. To cultivators, it is indeed attractive enough. Bailey Hongzhuang, where exactly did you go? Dongfang Yu's handsome eyebrows twitched. He still saw Bailey Hongzhuang yesterday. How come no one knew where she went today? Cultivation Pagoda. Leaving these two words in an apathetic voice, Gong Xiaoqing turned and went back into his house. Oh, Dongfang Yu said suddenly. So that's how it is. But how did this guy know that? Dongfang Yu rubbed the back of his head. He turned and also went back into his house. 100 points. She wouldn't be able to stay in the cultivation pagoda for long. Lu Qinyue stared at Gong Xiaoqing's back as he left, a complicated look in her clear eyes. Usually, Gong Xiaoqing has never been concerned about anything. None of them knew where Bailey Hongzhuang went. So how did he know? Her heart clenched for a moment, however Lu Qinyue didn't show any expression. Ling Jiasin was undoubtedly the most depressed person. Since leaving the city square yesterday, she had been gathering gold coins and demonic cores. Even if brought out all her possessions, she still wouldn't have 100,000 gold coins and 50 demonic crystals. In desperation, she could only scrimp and save and ask her friends to lend her a bit. With Gong Xiaoqing's intimidation, even if she wanted to renege on her bet, she'd be able to. In her desperation, she even sold her valued points before she could gather everything. She was so miserable. And yet Bailey Hongzhuang became a sought-after figure to all the cultivators. It was really just too hateful. Just wait until Yunyang returns. She would definitely make Bailey Hongzhuang pay her back 1,000 times over. At the time the entire Azure Water City was going crazy over the channel opening pill, Bailey Hongzhuang was immersed in cultivating at the cultivation pagoda. With such abundant spiritual energy, it was really beneficial towards cultivating. On the previous trip to the Luoyun mountain range, her strength had definitely risen to a certain degree. In this cultivation pagoda, each time she cultivated it would provide the maximum return. Little Black and Little White excitedly absorbed the spiritual energy in the cultivation pagoda. At their cultivation level, it wasn't easy to get to the next level. However, cultivating is something they must do every day. Compared to Little Black and Little White's seriousness, Baishir found it comfortable and began a routine of eating then sleeping, sleeping then eating. Because Baishir is the demonic beast king, at a young age it only needs sleep and be able to absorb spiritual energy to advance its cultivation. Knowing this, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but feel a bit envious. Eat then sleep, sleep then eat. Being able to advance your cultivation just by doing this. It was really too amazing. The demonic calling scripture was regarded as a taboo cultivation method. Its way of cultivation is also slightly different. Chapter 303. All the other methods utilize the body's main meridians to cultivate and enhance their cultivation. On the other hand, the demonic calling scripture utilizes the opening of all the meridians in the body to cultivate. As each additional meridian is opened, it will be used to cultivate. Since the moment Bailey Hongzhuang began cultivating using the scripture, the meridians she could cultivate with were 2 more compared to the others. By now, the meridians she could use to cultivate were already 3 more compared to the others. This amount didn't seem large. However, as long as you were a cultivator, then you'd understand the weight of those 3 meridians. Moreover, they will still continue opening. Later, her cultivation speed would greatly surpass that of the other cultivators. This was where the taboo cultivation method went against the heavens. As soon as the 2 days were up, a small alarm rang out as a reminder. Little Black and Little White climbed up onto Bailey Hongzhuang's head again. Then she carried Baisher as she left the cultivation pagoda. Just 2 short days of cultivating and Bailey Hongzhuang was made aware of the benefits of the cultivation pagoda. She needs to earn more points so she can increase her cultivation quicker. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang returned to the dormitory, she was shocked by the sea of people that greeted her. Since when has the outside of our dormitory been so lively? Her ink-black phoenix eyes held a bit of wonder. It couldn't be that within these 2 days that something exciting happened with the special enrollment class again. Jiang Penyi had already waited outside the dormitory for 2 days and had yet to see Bailey Hongzhuang. His heart was full of helplessness. It was reasonable to say that since the demonic beast tide at the Luoyun mountain range had happened no long ago, that it shouldn't be that she had gone out on a task. So then where did she go? Why is it that no trace of her could be found? When they heard about the earth-shaking news of the channel opening pill, they hadn't held any expectation. After all, they had no relationship with her. Bailey Hongzhuang did not have a reason to help them after all. However, he inadvertently discovered that his roommate, Xiao Zifen, came from the same country as Bailey Hongzhuang. Xiao Zifen was even her friend. As a result, as long as Xiao Zifen asked, then wouldn't they have hope? Jiang Penyi, let's return. Hongzhuang is very busy every day. Let's not disturb her. Xiao Zifen had an awkward look on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang treated him very well. She had even gifted him a cultivating yuan pill. He had always kept this kindness in his heart. However, he didn't have anything that could repay her. And at the moment, Jiang Penyi and the others had dragged him here to disturb Bailey Hongzhuang. He really had a heavy weight on his mind. Xiao Zifen, we just want a chance to use demonic beast crystals to exchange for channel opening pills. We're not asking without giving anything in return. Just help us with this, okay? Jiang Penyi's face was full of pleading. With his current strength, it was very difficult to get a great accomplishment at the Azure Water School. If he had the channel opening pill, his chances would at least improve a lot. One had to know. Before the channel opening pill was lost to time, as long as they had the right qualifications, all cultivators would use it. This was because the effect of broadening one's meridians was really too important. They also knew that requesting Xiao Zifen to help was pushing him into a corner. But this was the only way they could get close to Bailey Hongzhuang. It was during this conversation that Jiang Penyi excitedly looked forward, light flashing through his eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang has returned. Nowadays, Bailey Hongzhuang's name was on almost all their minds. Therefore, when Jiang Penyi whispered that she had returned, almost every cultivator immediately turned to look towards that direction. Bailey Hongzhuang found that every cultivator was excitedly staring at her. That excitement was akin to a starving dog seeing a bone for the first time in days, eyes green with greed. Chapter 304 Master, what in the world did you do? Little Black's face was stiff. This flock of people can't be Pengyun Xiang's people wanting to kill you, right? Little White shrunk his neck. This number of people is a little too scary. They've seen group battles before, but the sheer amount of people this time was simply too much. These people are really too unbridled, daring to make a clamor right in front of our door. Little Black rubbed its fists eagerly. It seems like it's finally time for us two black and white fiends to debut. Bailey Hongzhuang. The crowd clamored excitedly as they all ran towards her, pushing up against each other. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang felt even more pressured. Just as the two black and white fiends were about to attack, the students all shouted their intentions. Bailey Hongzhuang, do you still have any more channel opening pills? Bailey Hongzhuang, please sell me a channel opening pill. Any price is fine. Bailey Hongzhuang, I prepared a lot of demonic beast crystals. I'll give them all to you if you give me a channel opening pill. Bailey Hongzhuang finally realized why so many people were outside her door. So news about the channel opening pill has already spread. Channel opening pills used to be a very common pill, but here it seemed to be extremely precious. Because they were rare, they were extremely valuable. This was actually pretty good news for her. If she could exchange channel opening pills for demonic beast crystals, she'd never run out of food for Baisha. An idea floated into her mind. She needed points. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a smile. What a good idea. Dongfang Yu noticed the noise downstairs and instantly knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had returned. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so lively. He immediately left his room. If so many cultivators surrounded her, wanting to leave wouldn't be easy. Everyone calm down, listen to me. Bailey Hongzhuang shouted. With so many students clamoring around her, she had no chance to speak. The students in the front quieted down, but the students in the back continued to make a ruckus. Soon, the scene was very chaotic. Her ink-black eyes revealed a hint of helplessness. It looks like she needed to magnify her voice. But just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to louden her shout, a water-blue figure appeared beside her. Along with the man's arrival, the crowd of clamoring students miraculously quietened. Bailey Hongzhuang turned, staring at Dongfang Yu astonished. She hadn't thought Dongfang Yu would suddenly appear now. Dongfang Yu was wearing soft, water-blue brocade robes, contrasting with his tall and straight appearance. His temper was mild like jade, with handsome, picturesque facial features. Dongfang Yu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang mischievously, his peach blossom eyes filled with charm. He reached out and directly pulled Bailey Hongzhuang out of the crowd. Seeing this scene, all the students were startled. What exactly was Dongfang Yu and Bailey Hongzhuang's relationship? Although Dongfang Yu always treated Azure Water School students very well, this was the first time they saw him pull a female student's hand. Bailey Hongzhuang was also startled. Dongfang Yu released her hand after they got out of the encirclement. I pulled you out so it'd be less troublesome. You didn't take offense, right? Dongfang Yu's warm, hazy voice asked with concern as his eyes shined brightly. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head smilingly. They were groupmates and friends, plus he had also pulled her hand during their time at Luoyun Mountain. It wasn't anything at all. Chapter 305 Everyone, listen up. A light beautiful voice came from Bailey Hongzhuang's lips. With Dongfang Yu taking command of the situation, all the students quietly watched Bailey Hongzhuang. They all wanted to know if Bailey Hongzhuang had channel opening pills in her possession or not. I know everyone came due to the channel opening pill. I do in fact have channel opening pills. However, since I'm selling them, their prices would of course be announced to the public. 7 days later, I will auction off 3 channel opening pills. Everyone may use points, demonic beast crystals as well as other rare herbs and other such items that you feel appropriate to trade with. How does that sound? Her delicate jade-like face framed an enchanting smile. At this moment, her otherworldly figure was like a sly spirit. Each and every move attracted everyone's gazes. How to maximize the pills worth the most is something Bailey Hongzhuang was very clear about. In her past life, she had done similar things often. All the students were first astonished after hearing these words. Then a strong firmness came over their eyes. 3-channel opening pills was much better than they had imagined. As long as there were pills, then they had hope. What's more, though an auction was somewhat beyond their expectations, the cultivators who weren't familiar with Bailey Hongzhuang didn't have to worry about the others being showed favoritism. This was absolutely fair. How they get the channel opening pill would depend solely on their own ability. Dongfang Yu's emotional eyes flashed with astonishment and lamentation. He had also never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would have this kind of method. Not to mention, he was shocked that Bailey Hongzhuang actually still had 3-channel opening pills. How would this kind of long-lost pill make its way into her hands? At this moment, he admired Bailey Hongzhuang's business sense. An auction. In the history of the Azure Water School, such a situation has never happened before. This kind of method would maximize the profits. Points. This were so precious to the point that students wouldn't sell them. However, he believed that 7 days later the students who want to use points to trade wouldn't be few in number. After 7 days, at the same time, we will meet here. Is that all right? Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful and perfect face held a confident and steady smile, her tone indifferent. She had the channel opening pills in her possession, so naturally she had the right to talk. Ling Jesin used up every bit of effort and brought out everything that could be used to raise money before she could gather enough for 100,000 gold coins and 50 demonic beast crystals. As of now, she was practically penniless. If Dai Yunyang doesn't return soon, during this period she really didn't know how her days would pass. However, when Ling Jesin arrived at the special enrollment student dormitory, she witnessed a lively spectacle. Bailey Hongzhuang was just like a goddess standing in front of everyone. The looks of expectation all fell on her, waiting for her to issue orders. Ling Jesin angrily clenched her plain white fingers. Her heart was depressed to the extreme. Why? Why did she have to fall down to such a state, and yet Bailey Hongzhuang gets endless glory? Bailey Hongzhuang, you aren't even a pill master. Where would those pills come from? It couldn't be that you're going to casually bring out a pill and fool everyone, right? Ling Jesin spoke out, with the intent to undermine her. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows twitched. Looking at the slowly approaching Ling Jesin, her smile held a trace more ridicule. Well, if it isn't Ling Jesin. You came to pay your debt. At her remark, Ling Jesin suddenly had an ugly look on her face. Chapter 306 Ling Jesin could be considered as a rather famous figure in Azure Water School, but now, she had fallen to such a state because of Bailey Hongzhuang. But still, this woman actually still said that in front of everyone. Isn't it just that? I'll give it to you. Ling Jesin walked in front of Bailey Hongzhuang, directly taking out 100,000 gold coins and 50 demonic beast crystals to give to her. Her face was filled with disdain as if those things were nothing to her. A cunning light flicked past Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. I heard that Miss Ling suffered a lot trying to collect everything. She, Bailey Hongzhuang, refused to suffer any losses. If Ling Jesin wanted to shame her, she first needed to think about her own abilities. Everyone turned to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Everybody heard about the two's bet. If it wasn't for their bet, they never would have known that Bailey Hongzhuang possessed channel opening pills. Which is why even though Ling Jesin had been in dire straits for the past few days, they were still very thankful to her. Ling Jesin's eyes flickered with anger. Bailey Hongzhuang always managed to make her feel like dying out of anger. Since words didn't work, Ling Jesin decided to not argue with Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang, you're just changing the subject. Ling Jesin's eyes flickered with malice. You couldn't have refined them, so are those pills really channel opening pills? Dongfang Yu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with concern. This Ling Jesin always wanted to pick faults. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled at Dongfang Yu before turning to look at Ling Jesin. What? Do you want to make another bet? Hearing this, everybody couldn't help but smile. Who didn't see that Ling Jiesen's face had already gone red? You! Ling Jiesen couldn't restrain her anger. After losing the bet, it felt as if she could never raise her chin up at Bailey Hongzhuang ever again. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes turned cold as she raised her chin. Her body seemed to shine splendidly as a noble aura filled the air. Why do I need to prove my channel opening pills to you? Her ink-black eyes shined with a sharp light. Who do you think you are? As for the channel opening pill's quality, everyone who believes it can come in 7 days' time. If you guys don't trust it, then you don't have to. I, Bailey Hongzhuang, never liked having to explain myself. Her domineering voice was filled with a bone-reaching arrogance. She had never liked explaining things. Everyone who believes her can come, and if they didn't, they just didn't need to. This was her arrogance. She had confidence in her channel opening pills. After speaking, Bailey Honghang directly turned around and entered the special enrollment students' dorm with Dongfang Yu. The other cultivators looked at Ling Jiesen with displeasure. Before they had still wanted to ask a few things, but because Ling Jiesen got in the way, they had lost their chance. They had complete confidence in the channel opening pill. They've all already heard about the stall keeper. If it really was fake, he definitely would have already complained. So, the channel opening pill must be real. Besides, Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't a person who lacked money, so how could she bear to let a little amount of money to damage her reputation? Special enrollment student, godly doctors. How could 3 channel opening pills compare to the 2 titles? Therefore, they had no need to doubt her. Chapter 307. Feeling the disgust in everyone's eyes, Ling Jiesen's expression became even more ugly and shouted, "What are you looking at? Didn't I just do this for your own good?" Hearing this, everyone was even more speechless. If it wasn't because of Dai Yunyang's status, they really wanted to rush up and teach Ling Jiesen a lesson. With the kind of attitude that deserves a beating, anyone who saw it would not be able to stop from getting a bit angry. She's really a crazy woman. There are always idiots, but this year there is especially a lot. What reason is there to pay attention to her? I want to avoid lowering my style. One word after the other. All the students casually spoke words full of mocking and derision. They did not at all have any good feelings towards Ling Jiesen. The students gradually dispersed while Ling Jiesen just stood there blankly. At one time, these people also looked at her with envy. There were no lack of people that sucked up to her. And now, what is this? Why is everyone standing on Bailey Hongzhuang's side? It is really hateful. Ling Jiesen desperately yearned for Dai Yunyang to return. As long as he returned, these people absolutely wouldn't dare to treat her like this. Dongfang Yu and Bailey Hongzhuang walked down the hallway of their dormitory. You've been at the cultivation pagoda these past 2 days. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly as she nodded. That's correct. I've cultivated for 2 days and used up my points. However, the results of cultivating at the cultivation pagoda was indeed very good. Dongfang Yu lifted his eyebrows. Looks like Gong Shaoqing's is very knowledgeable towards Bailey Hongzhuang's movements. Senior Dongfang, I have an important matter I want to ask of you. Bailey Hongzhuang stared deeply at Dongfang Yu, her beautifully bright and clear eyes held a light of expectation. What matter? As long as it's within my power, there's definitely no problem. Dongfang Yu's reply was quick and refreshingly unreserved. I hope that you can come to the auction 7 days later. Your prestige in the school is quite high. With you there, everyone would maintain order better. Her ink-black phoenix eyes flashed brightly with wisdom. Even though her fame in the Azure Water School was also high, it did not reach Dongfang Yu's level of prestige. After all, prestige is not the kind of thing that could be established overnight. Dongfang Yu had already spent a year at the school and had an irreplaceable position in the students' hearts. Dongfang Yu suddenly nodded and said, "No problem. Don't worry about it. Then I will thank you first." Returning to her house, Bailey Hongzhuang immediate brought out her furnace. She didn't have any extra channel opening pills on her hand. So she had to refining them now. The channel opening pill she gave to the stall owner before was actually prepared for her own use. Due to the unique characteristic of the demonic calling scripture, she not only had to open her meridians but also broaden them. Therefore the effects from using the channel opening pill would be excellent. The stall owner's need for a channel opening pill had greatly exceeded her expectations. However, the situation now was quite good. The news that Bailey Hongzhuang still had channel opening pills in her possession instantly spread throughout the entire Azure Water School. To everyone, this news was tremendously exciting. As long as they had enough things to trade with, they'd be able to get the coveted channel opening pill. Even though she is auctioning them off, the students felt their good feelings towards Bailey Hongzhuang increased by quite a bit. This was because Bailey Hongzhuang chose to have the auction within the school and didn't bring it to Azure Water City to auction off. Otherwise, with their resources they could never compete with those businessmen. It was precisely because of this point, no one could say that Bailey Hongzhuang placed more importance on benefit. She was also considerate towards the Azure Water School students. All of a sudden, the students of the Azure Water School all started to get busy. Due to this, the entire city square of the Azure Water City had also become unusually lively. Chapter 308 Everyone knew that the only things that would interest Bailey Hongzhuang were demonic beast cores, points and herbs. Gold coins were the most useless. Thus, everyone was collecting comparatively special materials, hoping to impress her. Meanwhile, some rumors about Bailey Hongzhuang and Dongfang Yu had also started to spread out. Even though Senior Dongfang treats everyone well, isn't he especially attentive towards Bailey Hongzhuang? I feel that perhaps Senior Dongfang likes Bailey Hongzhuang. Then what can I do? I've already liked Senior Dongfang for a long time. If Senior Dongfang really has someone he likes, then The female students all felt grief in their hearts. They only hoped that this wasn't true. After all, when the person you've liked for so long finds a person to stand by his side, they could no longer have those thoughts in their mind. Bailey Hongzhuang is so beautiful. Isn't it not surprising that Dongfang Yu likes her? Let alone Dongfang Yu, almost every guy would like her. It wasn't the least surprising that the male students would like her. No matter in what aspect, Bailey Hongzhuang was the undisputed prideful daughter of heaven. Though Lu Qingyue had the title of #1 beauty of the Azure Water School, they felt that the newly arrived junior Bailey appeared to be much more relatable to them. Bailey Hongzhuang had no knowledge towards the various remarks from the world outside. She only single-mindedly refined pills inside her house. Master, haven't you already refined 4 channel opening pills? Why are you still refining more? Little Black was bored stiff as it tugged at the fur on Little White's head. Once Master seriously does something, she is as stubborn as a bull. For example, refining pill. Master had been refining pills since she returned. It looks like she won't stop refining pills until she mentally exhausts herself. 3 pills were for the auction. 1 for her own use. 4 pills were already enough. Bang! When the lid lifted off the furnace, another channel opening pill was successfully refined. While Bailey Hongzhuang put the channel opening pill into the white porcelain bottle, she smilingly said, Senior Dongfang as well as Jiqing and the others are all my good friends. Every cultivator needs the channel opening pill. I am also prepare a portion for them. Towards her real friends, she had never been stingy. The grade of the channel opening pill wasn't high, but it had a significant effect on cultivators. All this time, Dongfang Yu and the others have all treated her well and helped her with many things that could not be repaid easily. The channel opening pill was undoubtedly the best choice. Hearing this, Little Black finally understood and then immediately approached Bailey Hongzhuang. Master, what do you think about Senior Dongfang? Bailey Hongzhuang slightly narrowed her phoenix eyes. Her gut told her that Little Black's question was not as simple as it sounded. What do you want to say? Little Black clasped its hands together. Master, even though I feel that Senior Dongfang isn't bad, I still stand firmly on Dibei Chen's side. Dongfang Yu had always been considerate towards Master and it could tell a few things from the vague atmosphere between them. However, it looked at Dibei Chen in a better light. Haha. Slap. Bailey Hongzhuang sent Little Black flying with a single slap. Little furballs don't have to think about such complicated questions. Ah. Little Black hit the wall and miserably rolled back. It sat quietly to the side, not daring to say a word. Little White sighed and looked helplessly at Little Black. I already said. Master likes Senior Dongfang. You just had to ignore me. You deserve to be beaten. Bailey Hongzhuang had just prepared to return to refining pill when she suddenly heard Little White's words. Her heart stilled for a moment before she smoothly sent Little White flying to the other side. Don't you two have too much free time on your hands? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrow. It seems that I have to find something for your guys to do. Chapter 309. When those words left Bailey Hongzhuang's mouth, Little Black and Little White's expressions changed. Tacitly, both of them put their paws over their mouths and obediently sat on the bed, indicating that they won't speak again. Baisher proudly rubbed up against Bailey Hongzhuang and got a demonic beast crystal from her hand. As Baisher crunched on the crystal, it arrogantly looked at the two who were being punished. That little villain. Little Black said angrily. Don't just look at this Baisher's usual naturally slow-witted face. Baisher looked cute all day long, but in truth it is very smart. Baisher arrogantly stretched, twisted its fat butt and secretly thought, who told you guys to ignore the atmosphere? This time you guys are really unlucky. Little White gnashed its teeth. It always felt that if it doesn't beat someone up once in a while, its claws would itch. Little Black and Little White glanced at each other. It looks like they can't let Baisher, this little baby, continue to be so arrogant. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang left the house only after she finished refining the channel opening pills. She slowly walked up to the third floor. Bailey Hongzhuang knocked on Dongfang Yu's door but found that no one was there. Her ink-black bright phoenix eyes showed a trace of puzzlement. Could it be that Dongfang Yu was out? Just when Bailey Hongzhuang was contemplating this matter, the door behind her suddenly opened. You're looking for Dongfang. The words were slow and indifferent. Other than Gong Shaoqing, who else could this be? Bailey Hongzhuang turned around, slightly nodded and smiled charmingly. Since you're here, it's the same thing. Gong Shaoqing looked slightly puzzled. He opened the door and indicated to Bailey Hongzhuang to come inside. When Bailey Hongzhuang entered, she discovered that Dongfang Yu and Lu Qingyue were also there. She couldn't help but show a touch of surprise in her eyes. You were looking for me? Dongfang Yu stood up, a smile on his face as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful face softened. So it happens that you're all here. I came to give something to you guys. It was Yin Yang pouch earlier and Cosmos pouch in the glossary. From her Cosmos pouch, Bailey Hongzhuang retrieved 3 white porcelain bottles. She handed one to each person. These channel opening pills should be helpful to you guys. Hearing these words, Dongfang Yu and the others looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in surprise. Channel opening pill. This was currently the most popular pull in the Azure Water School. Its value need not to be said. Bailey Hongzhuang actually gifted it to them. One shouldn't accept a reward without merit. We can't take these pills. Gong Shaoqing said deeply. Channel opening pill. It held extreme attraction to all cultivators. They didn't know how the channel opening pills fell into Bailey Hongzhuang's hands, but they couldn't accept it for no reason. Originally, They also had some thoughts of taking part in the auction 3 days later. The highest bidder wins. This was also very normal. Only, who would expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would directly gift it to them? This was the pill that many cultivators longed for. Since I came to the Azure Water School, you guys have always taken good care of me. That's something that I can't repay. So don't refuse this. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled enchantingly, placing the white porcelain bottles in their hands. To me, the channel opening pill is only a grade 2 pill. You guys don't have to worry about it so much. To other cultivators, the channel opening pill was a pill that had already been long lost to time. It was a priceless treasure, wasn't available on any market. However, to someone who possessed the pill formula like her, it was only an ordinary grade 2 pill. Lu Qingyue looked at the channel opening pill in her hand. She could hardly hide the shock in her heart. When the news of the channel opening pill spread out, she had questioned her master for information. She also read through ancient texts to look up the characteristics of the channel opening pill. There was no difference between the books and the pill in her hands. Only, the channel opening pill had long been lost for so many years. How could it have appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's possession? Chapter 310. Whether it was the lost vibrating needle technique or the lost channel opening pill, they were both extraordinary. Who on earth was Bailey Hongzhuang? Others may not know of the channel opening pill's significance, but as a pill master herself, she was very clear. To possess the pill formula for the channel opening pill is equivalent to possession an incomparably precious treasure. Each and every pill formula was extremely precious, not to mention that this was the kind of pill formula that everyone needed and was also lost long ago. Gong Xiaoqing stared hard at Bailey Hongzhuang. His eyes were like bright stars and filled with a surge of darkness. His heart could hardly stop shaking. Bailey Hongzhuang, how do you have so many channel opening pills? Amongst the three, Dongfang Yu had the closest relationship with Bailey Hongzhuang. So naturally it was he who asked Bailey Hongzhuang at this moment. Lu Qinyue's gaze also fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. Her clear eyes held uncertainty and hesitation. Hongzhuang, you are a pill master. All along, she had thought that there was no possibility that Bailey Hongzhuang could cultivate martial arts, study medical skills along with learning refining skills at the same time. One person's concentration could not possibly be split 3 ways equally. However, whether it was Bailey Hongzhuang taking out so many returning qi pills at the Luoyun mountain range or taking out the channel opening pills now. If she was an ordinary cultivator, there was no way she'd be able to prepare so many pills. Even if one was abundantly wealthy, then he'd still wouldn't be able to buy so many channel opening pills, right? As a result, there was only one possibility left: Bailey Hongzhuang is a pill master. However, towards this conclusion, Lu Qinyue still felt that it was inconceivable. That's correct. I'm a pill master. She had a pleasant smile on her exquisite face. Bailey Hongzhuang would of course admit it. To her, this wasn't a secret. Hearing these words, Dongfang Yu, Gong Xiaoqing and Lu Qinyue's all turned their eyes to Bailey Hongzhuang at the same time. They had suspicions in their hearts about this. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang admitted it, inevitably their hearts still shook. Was this still a human? Your concentration is too abnormal. Lu Qinyue's usually gentle face was slightly stiff. Hongzhuang, this channel opening pill. It wasn't refined by you, right? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Yes, it was refined by me. Gulp. Dongfang Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva, looking at Bailey Hongzhuang as if he was looking at a monster. He found it hard to believe that a 15-year-old girl could have such high achievements in so many different areas. It was too heaven-defying. Gong Xiaoqing's usually stony face also had a trace of shock on it at this moment. With Bailey Hongzhuang's age, as long as she has true ability, she would be a genius with such achievements in either medical skills or pill refinement. And yet, Bailey Hongzhuang had achievements in all three areas that everyone would be envious of. You can imagine the shock they felt in their hearts. Lu Qingyue opened her mouth yet didn't know what she should say. The channel opening pill was a grade 2 pill. This meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was a rank 2 pill master. She had only just passed the rank 2 pill master exam at the Pill Master Association this year and was already considered a genius by many seniors. Compared to her, Bailey Hongzhuang was a year younger and yet had already reached the level of a rank 2 pill master. This 1 year didn't seem like a large gap, however the gap in talent wasn't slight. If she was a genius, then what was Bailey Hongzhuang? She didn't dare to think about it. If Bailey Hongzhuang didn't research medical skills and concentrated solely on pill refinement, then what sort of achievement would she have now? For the first time, a proud daughter of heaven like her felt ashamed. Chapter 311. At that moment, Dong Fangyu no longer felt the burden he had before as he took the channel opening pill. The thing that pill masters did not lack was pills. As long as they had the herbs, they would be able to refine invaluable pills. Such a heaven-defying genius was actually ridiculed by everyone in the imperial city as a waste. Are those people in the imperial city blind? Dong Fangyu felt a sense of helplessness in his heart. If General Bailey knew the results Bailey Hongzhuang had today, he really wondered what the general would think. Hongzhuang, have you taken the Pill Master exam at the Pill Masters Guild? Lu Qingyue asked. Not yet. A beautiful smile blossomed on Bailey Hongzhuang's face. She had heard Jiqing talking about the Pill Masters Guild before and had also planned to go to the Pill Masters Guild to take the exam. However, she had not had the time to go recently. Lu Qingyue was even more confused. Her master told her before that there was a possibility that a strong power was backing Bailey Hongzhuang. No matter what angle you look at it from, Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't an ordinary person. So why hasn't she taken the Pill Masters Guild's exam yet? It provided great convenience to pill masters once they've joined the Pill Masters Guild. If you have time, why don't you go and take the exams at the Pill Masters Guild? Lu Qingyue smiled slightly. What benefits are there to passing the exam? Bailey Hongzhuang asked with beautiful eyes that clearly differentiate between black and white. After all, she had no interest in the status as a ranked pill master. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Lu Qingyue had doubts in her heart. Bailey Hongzhuang was definitely not ordinary. How could she not know anything about the Pill Masters Guild? The Pill Masters Guild has a really strong system. The guild's pill masters have priority on many rare herbs, so it is of great convenience to us. Then, what do you have to contribute in return? Bailey Hongzhuang arched her eyebrow. Since the Pill Masters Guild provided them with convenience in getting herbs, then accordingly they also had to fulfill certain obligations. The Pill Masters Guild doesn't have many rigid requirements. Only that when the guild needs a certain pill, you would help refine it and they would give you sufficient compensation. Her ink-black phoenix eyes held a trace of deep understanding. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately understood the meaning of the Pill Masters Guild's existence. Pill formulas are the most precious things each pill master owns. Thus, even though there are many pill masters, not every pill master would be able to refine a certain kind of pill. With the existence of the Pill Masters Guild, there was another channel to seek pills. The guild could directly ask a pill master that knew how to refine that pill, provide sufficient compensation and get the pill. As a result, pills would then have one more channel to circulate from. This was a win-win situation and pill masters aren't too restricted. Even if the guild asks a pill master to help, the pill master could refuse. However, most of the pill masters enjoy the benefits of the guild, they usually wouldn't refuse. I understand. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into an elegant smile, a decision made in her heart. Since she is going to auction the channel opening pills at the school, it was best to get the recognition of the Pill Masters Guild. Even though she doesn't care, it would be great to render people unable to denounce it. After a few exchanges between the four, Bailey Hongzhuang left the special enrollment student dormitory and the Azure Water School to go to the Pill Masters Guild. Chapter 3:12 Apart from Bailey Hongzhuang, who else will be able to wear a white dress so elegantly, as if she didn't belong on this earth? So as soon as Bailey Hongzhuang appeared, everyone recognized her. The crowd's voices were filled with curiosity and excitement. When everyone heard about the channel opening pills appearing on the auction, everybody knew that Bailey Hongzhuang still had even more channel opening pills. Nowadays, a channel opening pill fetched a high price. But since Bailey Hongzhuang was only planning to auction off 3 channel opening pills to principal Shui's cultivators, they didn't have any chance. Some of the merchants began to stir, wanting to get close to Bailey Hongzhuang. If Bailey Hongzhuang had more channel opening pills, it'd be a huge opportunity. Ah! Master, you've really become famous now. A trace of excitement flashed in Little Black's eyes. He seemed to see bags of gold flying towards them. Channel opening pills were very important to cultivators, it was something almost everybody needed. But since the pill had been lost, everybody could only endure without it. Almost every practitioner needs it. Before being lost, everyone can only endure. Now that it reappeared, even though it was only a second-grade pill, it was just wanted as a top-grade pill. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her lips into a shallow smile as her eyes surveyed the surroundings. Why not let them see it? At this moment, a pot-bellied middle-aged man walked next to Bailey Hongzhuang, his narrow eyes filled with a professional light. Miss Bailey, could I possibly negotiate a deal with you? His face had a big smile on it as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang fawningly. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the man. As soon as he approached her, she had already guessed his intentions. I'm only planning to sell 3 of them for now. I don't plan to do anything else with the rest. The 2 blunt sentences showed Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude. Right now, she was mainly focused on cultivating, and wasn't all that interested in money. To her, the most important thing was to get points to cultivate in the cultivation pagoda. Money was only a way to improve her cultivation. She didn't intend to neglect the root and pursue the tip, neglect fundamentals and concentrate on details. The middle-aged man immediately understood what Bailey Hongzhuang meant and did not pressure her anymore, but instead laughed. Miss Bailey, if there is ever a need, just contact me. The man told Bailey Hongzhuang that he will have left a shop in Azure Water City after he leaves and that his purpose had been achieved. The group of merchants saw that the middle-aged man left empty-handed, meaning Bailey Hongzhuang did not intend to sell any more pills and thus did not make a move. The Pill Masters Guild and the mercenary trade union weren't too far away. Usually, many mercenaries would be in the mountains collecting herbs to sell to the Pill Masters Guild, especially the rare ones. Is not far away. On weekdays, many mercenaries will be in the mountains to collect herbs for the Association of Pharmacists, especially some precious medicinal herbs. The Pill Masters Guild was the richest organization on Xingxian continent, and every pharmacist is equal to a huge amount of treasures, and the price of selling medicinal herbs to the Pill Masters Guild was always fair. Chapter 3:13 Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the tall and imposing building in front of her. The solemn and magnificent image of a pill furence was placed on top of glazed tiles that reflected bright rays of light. It exuded boundless nobility and pride. It was akin to the status pill masters in Xingxian continent had. The Pill Masters Guild wasn't as lively as the Military Engineer Union. With a kind of aura that was solemn and noble, not many people were inside, but the bystanders were all full of respect as they watched those that walked out from the entrance of the guild. So, the special position Pill Masters had in Xingxian continent could be seen. Standing in the middle of the Pill Masters Guild, Bailey Hongzhuang sized up her surroundings. The interior of the Pill Masters Guild appeared to be a slightly oppressing black space, filled with a solemn atmosphere. You can't help but be infected with this atmosphere the moment you walk in, becoming completely meticulous and serious. The Pill Masters Guild's front desk was straight ahead. It was a huge and long black table facing the door. A gentle lady was standing right in front of it, paying attention to each and every person entering the guild. The guild was quite spacious. It's just that there were so few people inside, so it felt very empty. Inside the guild, a few people wearing black robes walked past. These were the Pill Master robes that represented glory. If you wore this robe, you would receive respect from countless people when you walk into a crowd. Every Pill Master treated this robe as a precious treasure that signified glory. However, most of the Pill Masters wearing these robes were middle-aged. This was because it was very difficult to become a Pill Master. Specifically, the time and concentration you needed to spend isn't little at all. Thus, by the time you've gained a certain degree of achievement, you would already be quite old. Lu Qingyue was well deserved of the title of Genius Pill Master, becoming a rank 2 Pill Master at such a young age. Even in Xingxian continent, there weren't many that could achieve such a thing. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly walked up to the front desk. The lady at the front desk gave a polite smile as she saw Bailey Hongzhuang come over. "Young lady, are you here to sell herbs or to buy pills?" When young cultivators came to the Pill Masters Guild, they were basically here for only one of two reasons. Thus the receptionist directly asked this question. Bailey Hongzhuang slightly curved her lips, a smile of peerless beauty on her face, and said with a gently and harmonious voice, "I'm here to take the Pill Master exam." Hearing this, the receptionist sent a doubtful look at Bailey Hongzhuang, as if not daring to believe Bailey Hongzhuang's words. "Young lady, you're here to take the Pill Master exam?" The receptionist asked unbelievingly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded and said with certainty, "That's correct." Seeing how Bailey Hongzhuang replied so affirmatively, the receptionist was somewhat shocked. Though she quickly regained her composure and said, "To take the Pill Master exam, you have to go to the second floor. You'll have to pay 1,000 gold coins to get the exam token before you can participate in the exam." 1,000 gold coins. To ordinary commoners, this was a huge figure. However, to Pill Masters, this was not a daunting figure. The reason why Pill Masters needed to pay 1,000 gold coins is to prevent some people from causing trouble. After all, a Pill Master needs to oversee the examinees during the exam. At that moment, a young girl around Bailey Hongzhuang's age walked over. The girl was wearing a goose yellow dress. Her complexion was clean, fair, and smooth. She had a mesmerizing palm-sized oval face, but her eyes were full of arrogance. Her gaze shifted to the side. No matter if it was her gaze or her demeanor, everything exuded a strong arrogance. It was as if ordinary people were simply beneath her notice. "I want to take the Pill Master exam." The girl said these words and directly placed 1,000 gold coins on the front desk, waiting for the receptionist to hand her an exam token. Chapter 314 Miss Wei. The attendant immediately bowed before immediately handing her an identification token. She clearly recognized Wei Meidai. "Since there's two girls wanting to take the exam, I'll immediately notify the masters." The attendant smiled. Hearing her words, Wei Meidai raised an eyebrow as she turned to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. Wei Meidai's gaze was filled with disdain and provocation, as if she was some high and mighty person looking at a petty and low commoner. It was like the other person didn't exist, and giving her a glance was already a great favor. She had seen many arrogant people like Bailey Yuyan and Shenyuan Huan, but this was still the first time she saw somebody like Wei Meidai. She was somebody capable of making others feel disgust and loathing at first glance. "Who's your master?" Wei Meidai's eyes flickered with contempt. There weren't a lot of young Pill Masters in Azure Water City, so not many dared to take the exam. She was very familiar with the Pill Masters Guild and this was the first time she saw such a woman. That woman ought to just be some random no-name Pill Master's disciple, thinking she was so amazing just because she understood a little piece and wanting to take the exam believing it was easy. Bailey Honghoung glanced at Wei Meidai indifferently before turning her eyes back to the front, not bothering to reply to her. Unreasonable people will never get the respect of others. Wei Meidai saw how Bailey Hongzhuang only glanced at her and didn't reply. Her beautiful face immediately turned angry. This useless no-name cultivator without any backing actually dared to refuse her face. "Hey, I'm talking to you." Wei Meidai raised her voice, looking at Bailey Honghoung irritatedly. "Do I have to reply just because you're talking to me?" Bailey Honghoung spoke lightly. Wei Meidai's shout had already caused everyone in the guild to look over. The Pill Masters Guild was always quiet, but Wei Meidai's words completely wrecked the silence. Everyone frowned as they turned to look at her, but immediately understood when they saw who it was. Obviously, since Wei Meidai knew the Pill Masters Guild well, the people in the guild were also familiar with her as well. Wei Meidai ignored the stares as she glared at Bailey Honghoung. "Do you know who I am?" In the entire Pill Masters Guild, she didn't care about anyone but Lu Qingyue. Nobody in their generation dared disrespect her, but this woman actually dared to treat her so. There was no way she was letting her off. "Not interested." Bailey Honghoung's voice was lazy and uncaring, treating Wei Meidai as no more than an annoying fly, not worthy of her attention. Wei Meidai's face quickly turned red. She should have had the upper hand with Bailey Honghoung, but instead got suppressed. Every sentence she spoke was blocked, leaving her feeling choked. "You!" Wei Meidai's chest rose up and down, filled with anger. Before, if she said something, nobody else would dare to talk back. Today was the first time she encountered such a person. "Do you know the consequences of offending me?" Wei Meidai narrowed her eyes, her ink-black almond-shaped eyes glittering with malice. This woman dared to let her lose face in front of so many people. Truly hateful. Bailey Honghoung raised a brow, a provocative smile on her delicate face. "Do you want to get beaten up?" Chapter 315. Wei Meidai was stunned. Obviously it was her threatening Bailey Honghoung, so how'd it turn into Bailey Hongzhuang threatening her? When the bystanders saw this, their faces looked as if they were excited to watch a good show. They always see Wei Meidai bullying others, but for the first time, somebody was actually bullying her. "I see that you need a beating." Bailey Hongzhuang's words completely exploded Wei Meidai's anger. You could only see Wei Meidai's face turn a bright red as her eyes filled with fury, a slap ruthlessly flying towards Bailey Honghoung. Seeing this, Bailey Honghoung's eyes turned cold. Her right hand moved like lightning as she grabbed the incoming hand, slapping Wei Meidai with her other one. "Pa!" There was a clear sound, especially distinct in the Pill Masters Guild's quiet silence. Time seemed to freeze for a split second as the surrounding people widened their eyes. They didn't dare to believe that the one to get slapped was actually Wei Meidai. Who is this young lady? Daring to slap Wei Meidai? I have never seen her before. Not only is her appearance outstanding, her bearing is also out of the ordinary. She's probably not a simple person. Didn't you guys hear about that girl who had the channel opening pills, Bailey Honghoung? A white dress and a refined, elegant beauty. This person looks a lot like her. Once Bailey Honghoung's name was mentioned, everybody suddenly understood. The people in the Pill Masters Guild weren't interested in cultivators, they only cared about concocting pills. Thus, they knew nothing about Azure Water School's new talents. But since Bailey Honghoung had the channel opening pill, she was well known in the Pill Masters Guild. But none of them thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be so young. Your words are right, this miss probably is Bailey Honghoung. Now knowing Bailey Honghoung's identity, the crowd's eyes turned even more excited to watch the show. It seemed that it'll be a very interesting scene. Wei Meidai was still in a daze, her right hand bursting with pain. Underneath the burning pain, there was great humiliation. She had lived arrogantly for many years and it was always her beating others. She had never, ever been slapped. But, this woman actually dared to beat her. Wei Meidai's eyes immediately turned insane. The curious gazes staring at her only served to further enrage her. "I'll kill you." Wei Meidai was extremely furious. Her figure flickered as she charged at Bailey Honghang. Wei Meidai's hand was stretched forward. Bailey Honghang knew right away that her cultivation was extremely weak since she had always focused on creating pills and wasn't a threat at all. She was simply incapable of bringing her harm. Bang! Bailey Hongzhuang directly grabbed Wei Meidai's hand with both hands and pushed her against the table below her. An enchanting smile broke out on her beautiful face, but the light in her eyes was as sharp as a knife. Everything was as fast as lightning, her voice chillingly cold. "Mark my words and don't disturb me anymore. Otherwise, I'll teach you what regret truly means." Wei Meidai was stunned, terror on her delicate face as stared at Bailey Honghang. Her whole body felt ice cold. Seeing the fear and nervousness in Wei Meidai's eyes, Bailey Honghang released her hand, her face indifferent as she stepped away. She usually avoided looking for trouble but at the same time, she was also never afraid of it. Chapter 316 Wei Meidai rubbed her hand in pain. The strength Bailey Honghang had put in earlier really wasn't light. Her wrist had already turned a deep purple color. Her dark eyes twinkled with resentment. Wei Meidai truly hated Bailey Honghang. She had never lost so much face. But Bailey Honghang's strength made her fearful. She didn't dare to be rash, otherwise, she was afraid that Bailey Honghang really would hurt her. "I'll let you off for now, but this debt, I'll definitely pay back 100-fold. Wei Meidai swore in her heart. The attendant walked over towards them very quickly. She could keenly sense something had happened after she left. Wei Meidai was no longer as haughty as before. "I've already informed the examination masters, you two can go to the second floor," the attendant said smilingly. Bailey Honghang turned to go to the second floor. Everybody watched as Bailey Honghang and Wei Meidai walked away, immediately understanding why Bailey Hongzhuang had come to the Pill Masters Guild. Interest suddenly appeared in their eyes. In all of Azure Water City, only 3 youths had come to take the Pill Masters examination: Lu Qingyue, Wei Meidai, and now finally, Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Honghang had just gotten on the second floor when she saw 3 bold words not so far away: examination hall. Wei Meidai walked in front of Bailey Honghang. Her familiar actions seemed to be her telling Bailey Honghang that her identity in the Pill Masters Guild wasn't ordinary. What a pity, as Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't the slightest bit interested. When Bailey Honghang and Wei Meidai entered the examination hall, a middle-aged man was already standing there waiting for them. The man was wearing black Pill Master robes. 2 brightly glinting stars were pinned on it, representing his status as a rank 2 Pill Master. "Teacher Tong." Wei Meidai smiled as she called his name. Tong Qingyuan nodded slightly. "Wei girl, today marks your 3rd time participating in the Pill Master examination. I'll definitely succeed this time." Wei Meidai's eyes shone brightly, a firm light in her eyes. This time, she had really trained hard. She was sure that she'd be able to pass. Seeing Wei Meidai's confidence, Tong Qingyuan smiled affectionately. "Your master didn't come today." "Master said he'd come a bit later." Tong Qingyuan's gaze landed on Bailey Hongzhuang. "Has this girl also come to take the 1st grade Pill Master's examination?" "Nope." Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. Wei Meidai looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, startled. She had clearly heard the waiter say Bailey Honghang was also taking the Pill Master's examination. Wei Meidai was speechless. Could she have made a mistake? In that case, why did she come here to the examination hall? Tong Qingyuan was also confused. He really didn't know what this girl came here for then. But Bailey Honghoung's next words made Tong Qingyuan and Wei Meidai turn stunned. I came here to take the second-grade pill master examination. Wei Meidai's gentle face couldn't help but turn astonished. Bailey Hongzhuang looked to only be 15 or 16, but she said that she actually wanted to take the rank 2 pill master exam. Wei Meidai was stunned for another moment before bursting out into loud laughter. Huh, what a joke. You actually think you can take the second-grade pill master examination? Chapter 317 Wei Meidai's face was filled with disbelief. Since she had found her talent in refining pills, she instantly became infatuated with the profession. In her eyes, other than Lu Qinyue's abnormal heaven-defying talent, there was nobody above her. Little girl, did you already pass the first-grade pill master exam? Tong Qingyuan couldn't help but question Bailey Honghoung. Such geniuses were always rare, but it wasn't as if there was none. At the very least, their Pill Masters Guild already has one such living example. Lu Qinyue was Azure Water City's rarely seen genius pill master. Bailey Honghoung shook her head slightly. I haven't. Haha. Wei Meidai immediately started to coldly mock her. Hey, even if you want to talk big, it should at least be within limits. A second-grade pill master, are you dreaming? Because Tong Qingyuan was still present, Wei Meidai regained her courage. She was sure that Bailey Hongzhuang wouldn't dare to face Tong Qingyuan up front. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Wei Meidai coldly. Just because you don't have the skill doesn't mean that I don't. In the arrogant sentence, Bailey Hongzhuang's tone was flat and natural. The words were obviously provoking, but coming from Bailey Honghoung, it only sounded indifferent and ordinary. Tong Qingyuan's eyes changed slightly. Bailey Honghoung's way of speaking was worth thinking over. This tone wasn't one used when two equal forces were sneering at each other. Bailey Honghoung's manner of speaking signified that she simply didn't care about Wei Meidai at all. It was contempt from the bottom of her heart. Wei Meidai was always arrogant. He never thought that he would one day meet a girl even more haughty than her. Are you saying my disciple doesn't have any ability? An angry voice immediately called out after Bailey Honghoung's words from behind her. Wei Meidai's eyes brightened. She instantly regained her guts, that trace of worry disappearing as she glared at Bailey Hongzhuang, filled with pride and resentment. Master! Wei Meidai loudly called out, looking at Bailey Hongzhuang provokingly. Since her master appeared, why couldn't she act arrogant around this woman? Gu Zhangyan's mood was originally very good. His treasured disciple was taking the first-grade pill master exam. This time he had watched Wei Meidai train very hard and believed that as long as she showed a good performance, Wei Meidai would definitely pass the pill master exam. But he didn't expect that the first thing he heard when he entered the examination hall was a young lady saying his own disciple had no skill. If his very own disciple didn't have any skill, who in this world did? Gu Zhangyan's heart was filled with displeasure. Nowadays, young people truly were newborn calves unafraid of the tiger. What identity did she have, daring to say those words? Bailey Honghoung turned around to see Wei Meidai's master. It was an old man about 60, with a full, grizzled, gray beard. His face was laced with wrinkles and was red from anger. Arrogance was etched in between his brows, his whole body emitting a distinguishable aura. The old man's arrogance was very different from Xianyuan Huan's inborn arrogance. Rather, his was an arrogance acquired through practice and customs. As long as one was a pill master, their bodies would always emit such a bit of arrogance and disdain. Because pill masters were such an up and high profession, they were always used to cultivators chasing after them. With only a glance, Bailey Hongzhuang instantly knew that Wei Meidai's arrogance was caused by this man before her. Chapter 318 Master Gu, you came. When Tong Qingyuan saw Gu Sanyan come, a polite and respectful smile immediately appeared on his face. Although he and Gu Sanyan were both pill masters, Gu Sanyan was a third-grade pill mazer while he was only a second-grade one. Besides, Gu Sanyan was older than him and was his senior. Gu Sanyan nodded his head slightly before locking his eyes on Bailey Hongzhuang. "What is your name? Daring to talk to my disciple so rudely." His sullen voice was angry and questioning. Gu Sanyan had always protected his name, and how could he let her go when she had even insulted his most prided upon disciple like that? No matter if it was Feng Bo country or Clear Flame country, very few around Wei Meidai's age could take the pill master's examination like her. Only Huan Chuyo's disciple Lu Qingyue truly had enough talent to beat Wei Meidai. Other people can't even come close. Although this girl's appearance was impressive, daring to look down on his disciple, she had to pay the price. Wei Meidai stood behind Gu Sanyan, a prideful smile on her beautiful face. She looked at her master. Let's see if this woman still dared to be as arrogant as before. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly, a trace of coldness fluttering past her inky black eyes. The thing she disliked most was such a high and lofty, arrogant, bossy appearance, as if he and other people were on completely different levels. Since the other person was so rude, she naturally didn't need to be polite either. Respect was something both parties needed. A trifling third-grade pill master didn't have the qualifications to make her reply. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Gu Sanyan and Wei Meidai, not replying. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang continue her arrogant act, Wei Meidai was stunned. Did this woman not know her master's identity? Anyone in Azure Water City would treat her master with due respect as soon as they saw him. So how could this woman from who knows where have the impertinence to ignore her master? "Hey, my master is asking you something. You dare to ignore him?" Wei Meidai raised her voice at Bailey Hongzhuang, her appearance as if Bailey Hongzhuang had done something unbearably ungraceful. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was cold, her inky black eyes estranged and indifferent. "You questioning me doesn't mean I have to reply." Her cold, clear voice was sweet and pleasant, but her words made the scene freeze. Tong Qingyuan stared at Bailey Hongzhuang, astonished. Although he thought that this was mostly due to Wei Meidai's arrogance, Bailey Hongzhuang's rudeness to Gu Sanyan was truly out of his expectations. The crowd watching was also shocked. Wasn't this Bailey Hongzhuang really too audacious? Usually, nobody would dare to speak against Gu Sanyan and Wei Meidai in the Pill Masters Guild. Even in all of Azure Water City, there wasn't anyone who dared to slight them. But now, Bailey Hongzhuang actually dared to face Gu Sanyan so rudely. It had to be said, her courage alone was admirable. Master Gu is famous for his narrow-mindedness. Bailey Hongzhuang really dares to offend him. Wei Meidai's usual actions are always spoiled by Master Gu. Bailey Hongzhuang's actions actually make me a bit happy. But offending Master Gu, Bailey Hongzhuang definitely won't have a good time in Azure Water City. Everyone sighed, looking at Bailey Hongzhuang regretfully. Chapter 3:19. A trace of anger appeared in Gu Sanyan's turbid eyes. He had stayed in Azure Water City for many years. Whoever saw him would always call him master. For him to speak to a youth was their honor, yet this girl actually dared to be so disrespectful. Don't you know that it's unwise to offend a pill master? His cold, gloomy voice held a warning. Bailey Hongzhuang's actions had clearly already angered him. Tong Qingyuan's heart sunk. Master Gu wasn't as tolerant as Master Huan, even a trivial action would make him hold a long-time grudge. Bailey Hongzhuang had completely offended Gu Sanyan today. Although he didn't know Bailey Hongzhuang, he also didn't want her to get such a big enemy just because of this. Thinking of this, Tong Qingyuan glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang meaningfully, indicating she should say a few pacifying words. After all, Gu Sanyan was the elder here. It wouldn't be good for him to deal with Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Honghoung saw Tong Qingyuan's indication and couldn't help but get a favorable impression of him in her heart. She and Tong Qingyuan were total strangers, but he still tried to warn her. From this, it could be seen that he wasn't a bad person. But, wanting her to speak pacifying words to Gu Songyun? Impossible. Don't you know that it's also an unwise idea to offend a new, talented pill master? Bailey Honghoung's lips curved into an enchanting smile, her cold voice filled with menace. She had no need to pay attention to a third-grade pill master. Right now, she was already a second-grade pill master. As long as she works hard and breaks through in her cultivation, refining third-grade pills wouldn't be a problem at all. So, Gu Songyun's words weren't the least bit threatening to her. As Bailey Honghoung dropped those words, Gu Songyun and Wei Meidai's faces suddenly changed. They were sure Bailey Honghoung would be begging for forgiveness, but instead, Bailey Hongzhuang actually turned around and threatened Gu Songyun. Haha. Gu Songyun's anger had already reached an exploding point, but to keep his image, he could only sneer coldly, "Since you're so courageous, announce your name. I want to see what confidence lets you be so rude and unreasonable." Rude and unreasonable? Little Black's face was mocking. "I think this guy's the one who's shameless. Right? When people become cheap they become shameless. Since no one wants to deal with shameless people, they become invincible. This Gu Songyun and Wei Meidai are birds of a feather." Little White's face was full of disdain. "Master, they definitely are planning to get even with you." Little Black and Little White showed displeased looks on their faces, yet Bailey Hongzhuang still looked indifferent. With this kind of substandard guy, she didn't feel he was worth getting angry over. "I am Bailey Hongzhuang." Bailey Hongzhuang was not perturbed, hiding neither given nor surname. She was not at all afraid of Gu Songyun's retaliation. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's name, the expression on Tong Qingyuan's face changed. A few days earlier, Bailey Hongzhuang's name spread throughout the Azure Water City. This was all because the long-lost channel opening pill had showed up in her possession. What the Pill Master Guild paid most attention to was obviously pills, not to mention that it was a long-thought-to-be-lost pill. After hearing this piece of news, they also thought of getting in touch with Bailey Hongzhuang. It was just that the Azure Water School had its own set of rules. No matter which organization you were from, you couldn't go into the school to find a student. Unexpectedly, Bailey Hongzhuang actually came to the Pill Master Guild. These past days, Gu Songyun had been studying pills behind closed doors and thus did not know of the matter of the channel opening pill. And so he also did not know of Bailey Hongzhuang's name. Bailey Hongzhuang, I will remember this name. Chapter 320. Gu Songyun's voice was icy as he stared at her angrily. There were too many people watching for him to do anything. He can't explode here. But, he had plenty of ways to deal with Bailey Honghoung. Suddenly, a familiar and surprised voice rang in everyone's ear. Bailey Honghoung. Bailey Honghoung turned to see Azure Water School's Vice Principal Huan Chuyu slowly walking over, a trace of a smile on his kind and tolerant face. Huan Chuyu's impression of Bailey Honghoung was very deep. The young girl had actually mastered the long-gone vibrating needle technique, a truly stunning feat. Vice Principal Bailey Honghoung greeted him respectfully. Seeing Bailey Honghoung call Huan Chuyu Vice Principal, Gu Songyun could immediately tell Bailey Honghoung's identity. "Old Huan, she's one of your students." Huan Chuyu nodded his head smilingly. "Right, Bailey Honghoung is one of Azure Water School's new students this year." "No wonder, truly a newborn calf." Gu Songyun sneered, his voice filled with resentment. "Old Gu, your words are completely wrong." Huan Chuyu waved his hand. "Bailey Honghoung isn't a youth that doesn't understand anything." Seeing Huan Chuyu speak like that, Gu Songyun thought he was only trying to protect Azure Water School students. Such a young girl daring to talk big, isn't that exactly a newborn calf not fearing the tiger? She doesn't know just how big the world truly is. Huan Chuyu inspected Gu Songyun and Bailey Honghang. From Gu Songyun's thorny attitude, it was clear that the two were in a conflict. Old Gu probably doesn't know, but in the field of healing, Bailey Honghang is entirely deserving of being called a great master. Huan Chuyu's face was serious, his voice sincere without the slightest trace of a lie. Everybody was surprised as they listened to Huan Chuyu praise Bailey Honghang. In Azure Water City, Huan Chuyu was a truly great master that everybody respected. It was truly a great honor for Bailey Honghang to be praised so highly by Huan Chuyu. Old Huan, what do you mean? Gu Songyun's face was still unhappy, a trace of doubt in his eyes. He and Huan Chuyu knew each other for many years, and he understood the other's temperament very well. Since Huan Chuyu said that, it shouldn't be a baseless claim. Wei Meidai looked at Bailey Honghang in annoyance. She really didn't know what background Bailey Hongzhuang had, to get such praises from Master Huan. Truly hateful. Bailey Honghang is a doctor who was able to remove the Lulan python's poison. Huan Chuyu smiled indifferently, a trace of mystery on his calm face. Everybody's faces changed when they heard Huan Chuyu's words. Lulan pythons were a huge taboo amongst cultivators. Nobody wanted to ever encounter a Lulan python, because if they were to be poisoned by it, there was very little chance they could survive. But did Master Huan say just now that Bailey Hongzhuang actually removed the Lulan python's poison? What idea was that? Gu Songyun naturally knew about the difficulty of dispelling the Lulan python's poison. Even he was helpless in front of it. Bailey Hongzhuang, this little girl, could really cure the poison. Old Huan, you're exaggerating, right? Gu Songyun asked skeptically, his words probing. If other people said it, then he definitely wouldn't believe them. But since Huan Chuyu said it, he had to believe it. Chapter 321, Chui Haoyan, one of our special enrollment students was bitten by the Lulan python. If Bailey Honghang didn't help save him, Chui Haoyan would have died. Huan Chuyu still smiled. Although he didn't know what great master was behind Bailey Honghang, he was very optimistic about her future. Both her character and personal conduct were worthy of admiration, so right now he had no apprehensions about praising her. Many people knew about Chui Haoyan's accomplishments in the special enrollment class. Everyone was surprised when they heard Chui Haoyan's name being mentioned. Since he had even brought up Chui Haoyan, it must be true. I didn't expect it was actually Bailey Honghang who had cured Chui Haoyan's injury. Right, it's no wonder that Zhang Yunfeng thanked Bailey Honghang. It's truly unexpected for Bailey Honghang to have such great medicinal skills at her young age. Tong Qingyuan sighed with admiration as he said smilingly, before I had thought Chui Haoyan could only go to the godly doctor in Fengbo country's imperial city. I didn't expect for Miss Bailey to have actually cured him first. Haha. Huan Chuyu laughed brightly, the godly doctor in Fengbo country's imperial city is Bailey Hongzhuang. Hearing this, everybody stared at Bailey Honghang, dumbstruck. Although Godly Doctor Square was far away in the imperial city, rumors of it had spread far. Everyone knew that the Godly Doctor in Godly Doctor Square could cure the most difficult cases under heaven and that her age was very young. Nobody thought that it'd be Bailey Hongzhuang. Wasn't her age just a little too young? This. I misheard, right? Tong Qingyuan's face was stunned. The Godly Doctor is Miss Bailey. Since ancient times, the most famous heroes have always been young. Huan Chuyu smiled lightly. Gu Songyun also heard about the Godly Doctor's reputation, but he truly couldn't link Godly Doctor Square and Bailey Hongzhuang together. Remembering how he had called Bailey Honghang a newborn calf, he couldn't help but feel somewhat ashamed. Wei Meidai stared blankly. She didn't dare to believe what she heard just now as the truth. Godly Doctor Square's master, that was a real master in the field of medicine. Bailey Hongzhuang. How could it be? Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful face had a slight smile on it. Even though Huan Chuyu praised her so much, she hadn't shown any pride. Everyone nodded inwardly. This was an example everybody should follow. If everyone acted like Wei Meidai not knowing the other's identity, who knew when they'd disappear? Even if Bailey Hongzhuang's exceptional in medicinal skill, she shouldn't be as great of a genius with refining pills, right? Gu Zhangyan was still very arrogant. Although a godly doctor was truly extraordinary, a pill master was still obviously better. Since Bailey Honghang held such high accomplishments in the field of healing, she shouldn't be that good in pill refining. After all, a person's energy was limited. Hearing this, Huan Chuyu's eyes flashed with a trace of doubt. Bailey Honghang, you came to take the pill master examination. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded, right. After everybody knew about Bailey Hongzhuang's accomplishments in medicine, thinking about how she was taking the pill master examination, their faces all couldn't help but turn a bit strange. Before they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was a doctor, they had only known that she had the channel-opening pill and had believed that she was a pill master. Now that they were aware, they simply couldn't believe Bailey Hongzhuang was taking the pill master's examination. Medicinal skills and pill refining were both very hard skills to understand and master. For Bailey Honghang to reach such an attainment of her skills was already an incredible feat. If Bailey Honghang really could also refine pills along with her medicinal skills, wouldn't her talent be just too heaven-defying? Chapter 322. This wasn't everyone not believing in Bailey Hongzhuang's talent. Wei Meidai has been following Gu Pangyun in pill refining since childhood, but she still isn't even a rank 1 pill master. Even though it was like that, Wei Meidai was still a genius at pill definition. Because amongst the other pill master apprentices their age, apart from Lu Qingyue, nobody even had the qualifications to participate. Bailey Hongzhuang's current achievements with medicine were already enough to make everyone stunned. If she could also have such accomplishments in pill refining, then she wouldn't be human. Old Huan, I didn't know about Bailey Hongzhuang's medicinal skills, but she even said that her pill refining skills were better than Wei Meidai in front of everybody. Isn't this simply talking nonsense? Gu Zhangyan's chin raised slightly, his cold face filled with displeasure. Earlier he had lost a lot of face, so no matter what, he needed to snatch some back from Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't care how good Bailey Honghang's medicinal skills were. If Bailey Honghang's pill refining techniques weren't good, it was her wrong. Master, this guy's really too much. Little Black's face was resentful. This guy was too shameless. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Gu Zhangyan with disgust, a trace of coldness in her jade-like black eyes. From the beginning to now, it was that pair of Gu master and disciple finding trouble with her, but now all the blame was pushed upon her body. She had never seen somebody this shameless, really. You've never even seen my skills, so why are you saying I'm talking big? Her cold, indifferent voice held a trace of provocation. Since Gu Zhangyan was being so shameless to her, she didn't need to worry about giving him face. Gu Zhangyan had originally wanted to say Bailey Honghang was boasting, so when she later failed the pill master's examination, the awkward one would naturally be her. But he hadn't expected Bailey Honghang to suddenly ask such a thing. Bailey Hongzhuang, my master and Master Huan were talking. How could you interrupt as you please? Wei Meidai was watching at the side and had no chance to speak, so when she saw Bailey Honghang's rudeness towards Gu Zhangyan, she immediately jumped at her. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her brow, glancing at Wei Meidai mockingly, you and I are total strangers, so what does my matter have with you? Wei Meidai was startled. Why couldn't Bailey Hongzhuang just act with common sense? Normally speaking, with such a big label crashing at her, Bailey Hongzhuang should have been in a fluster. But why didn't Bailey Honghang seem to care at all? The sentence left her with no way to respond. Gu Zhangyan frowned. Old Huan, your students are really too outrageous. Their parents truly didn't teach them well. Just as Gu Zhangyan said those words, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes suddenly darkened, staring at Gu Sanyan icily. Although she, Bailey Hongzhuang, still didn't know who her own, biological parents were, there was no way she would let others slander them. "You have guts, what did you say again?" Her icy cold voice didn't seem to contain the slightest bit of warmth. Bailey Hongzhuang had long lost her sweet, indifferent appearance, replaced by a bone-chilling iciness. Although she was very much disgusted by Gu Sanyan, since she was his elder, she restrained herself. But Gu Sanyan only grew more and more excessive. She couldn't be blamed for this. Bailey Hongzhuang's words made the atmosphere grow sluggish. Everyone stared at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock, nobody expected her to say such bold words. Chapter 323. Huan Chuyu frowned. Gu Sanyan's words were truly too excessive. He and Gu Sanyan knew each other for many years, and he understood his narrow-minded temper very well. If you provoked his people, he would find every possible way to get revenge. But the person behind Bailey Hongzhuang definitely wasn't simple, and couldn't possibly have an ordinary background. Bailey Hongzhuang's sentence didn't give Gu Sanyan any face at all. He didn't dare to believe that Bailey Hongzhuang had dared to say such a thing to him right in front of Huan Chuyu. "What did you say just now?" Gu Sanyan's eyes were filled with anger. He clenched his teeth and asked again. He didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang would dare to say that again. "I said, if you have the guts, say it one more time." Bailey Hongzhuang's face didn't change, repeating her words coldly. As the family leader in her past life, she had seen many pill masters. Nobody had ever dared to say such a thing to her. Even though this was her second life, no way would she let Gu Sanyan insult her parents. Sensing Bailey Hongzhuang's icy gaze, Gu Sanyan shivered. In her gaze, he had clearly sensed a strong killing intent. As a third-grade pill master, he had naturally seen many experts. But this was still the first time he felt such terrifying killing intent. Gu Sanyan fell in a daze, unable to speak. Huan Chuyu also took note of Bailey Hongzhuang's imposing aura, his eyes immediately lighting up. Bailey Hongzhuang really was out of the ordinary. Such an aura coming out from a young teenage girl was truly rare. Tong Qingyuan was secretly speechless, his heart holding a trace of fear towards Bailey Hongzhuang. From Bailey Hongzhuang's actions, she seemed to be even more arrogant than Gu Sanyan. Seeing the mood become awkward, Huan Chuyu had no choice but to help smooth things over. Since Bailey Hongzhuang and Wei Meidai both came to take the pill master's exam, why let them take it now? Gu Sanyan was frozen awkwardly, so seeing Huan Chuyu give him a way out, he immediately seized the opportunity. "That's also good. I'll see just how good Bailey Hongzhuang's pill refining skills really are." Gu Sanyan snorted angrily, flinging his sleeve as he entered the examination hall. Wei Meidai glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang furiously before following after Gu Sanyan. Huan Chuyu shook his head before calling Tong Qingyuan and Bailey Hongzhuang into the examination hall too. The crowd watched as Gu Sanyan and the others went into the examination halls, their hearts itching. The examination hall wasn't an area they could go to. This Bailey Hongzhuang's really too daring, treating Master Gu like that, and yet Master Gu still had no way out. Master Gu and Wei Meidai are always so arrogant, it's rare for somebody to make them suffer a loss. Bailey Hongzhuang really is amazing. Bailey Hongzhuang is godly Dr. Square's master. Many people seek her to treat their illnesses, so naturally, she doesn't care about Master Gu. Hearing this, everyone nodded. That was very reasonable. On pill refination, Master Huan was above Master Gu, but in medicine, there was nobody above Bailey Hongzhuang. With regards to talent, Bailey Hongzhuang was fully deserving of being called a master. The only thing blocking her was her age that made others incapable of calling out master. Bailey Hongzhuang walked into the heavy black curtains, the examination hall appearing in front of her. Inside, circular pill furnaces were laid out, a wooden square table set by each one, evidently used to hold pill ingredients. Chapter 324. A high circular platform was spiraled around the pill furnaces. That was clearly the judge's seat. Sitting on the high platform, the judging pill masters could clearly observe everything that was happening. Bailey Hongzhuang, choose a seat and prepare to start refining pills. Huan Chuyu said. Hearing that, Bailey Hongzhuang walked down the platform and randomly chose a pill furnace to sit at. Next, we'll begin the first grade pill master's examination. I will first explain the rules. Tong Qingyuan spoke slowly. Wei Meidai naturally already knew about the rules, but this was Bailey Hongzhuang's first time, so Tong Qingyuan had specifically said it for her to hear. The examination is to refine a pill randomly selected by the examination judge. You have 3 sets of materials. As long as you successfully refine the pill within the time limit, you'll pass. The time limit is 1 hour. Bailey Hongzhuang inwardly nodded. This examination was very fair. Even for pill masters, refining pills always had a chance for failure. The higher the pill's grade, the higher the chance of failure. The reason why they had 3 sets of materials was so even if they fail, they could try again. The rate of failure was something all pill masters had to face. 2 things reflected a pill master's strength. The first was the highest grade pill they could refine, and the second was their success rate. It was because the failure rate was so high, that all pill masters had countless precious pill ingredients piled up. If there wasn't enough ingredients to practice with, there was no way to become a pill master. How about I draw the examination's pill today? Just as Tong Qingyuan was about to draw the pill topic, Gu Zhangyan suddenly interrupted. Tong Qingyuan subconsciously looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. With Gu Zhangyan's temper, he definitely wouldn't make it advantageous for Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Tong Qingyuan's gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. With her strength, she didn't care about what pill Gu Zhangyan chose at all. Gu Zhangyan and Wei Meidai were unexpected variables. She didn't want to make things difficult for Tong Qingyuan. Since Gu Zhangyan wanted to do something to her, just let him come. In any case, she was confident that the one with their face beaten would be Gu Zhangyan. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang without any complaints, Tong Qingyuan agreed, okay. Gu Zhangyan took out a slip of paper from the trunk of examination pill topics and glanced at it before speaking. Today's pill examination topic is returning qi pills. His voice dropped and Gu Zhangyan seamlessly tucked the slip of paper into his sleeve. Obviously, what was really written on the slip of paper was no longer important. Wei Meidai's eyes brightened when she heard the words returning qi pills, her face filled with unconcealable excitement. For the past few days, she had been practicing refining the returning qi pill, and had managed to successfully refine one a few days ago. She hadn't thought that today's examination topic would precisely be returning qi pills. The heavens were truly on her side. Thinking of this, Wei Meidai glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang proudly. This time, she wanted to show Bailey Hongzhuang the difference between them. Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't worried at all. Returning qi pills were the pills she refined the most these days. Before, to go to Luoyun for the practical training, she had deliberately been refining a lot of returning qi pills. Returning qi pills was her highest success rate. Gu Zhangyan's carefully selected choice had only given her a wedding dress. Chapter 325. Quickly, the Pill Master Guild's attendant brought the materials needed for refining the returning qi pill over and placed them in front of Bailey Hongzhuang and Wei Meidai. Looking at the materials on the table, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't hesitate, and in an instant the fire beneath the pill furnace lit up in a fiery burst. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang prepared to refine the pill without batting an eyelash, Wei Meidai was a bit surprised. Amongst the grade 1 pills, the returning chi pill had a high degree of difficulty. Moreover, the pill formula each pill master possessed had differences between them. Though the pills commonly seen in the market were refined from pill formulas all pill masters possessed, the returning chi pill's formula was very precious. Not just anyone would be able to have possession of it. Bailey Hongzhuang's look at the moment was an air of relaxed calm. It couldn't be that this was faked, right? The returning chi pill is not an easy pill to refine. There's no sense in putting on an act. Just give up so as to avoid making a fool of yourself later. Wei Meidai sneered at Bailey Hongzhuang, words full of ridicule. Though she allowed Bailey Hongzhuang to play to the gallery, she didn't believe for a second that Bailey Hongzhuang would really be able to refine a pill. Bailey Hongzhuang shot Wei Meidai a faint glance. You don't even have the ability to pass the exam yourself. So don't go running your mouth off here. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's merciless reply, Wei Meidai became angry. She really didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang was so confident. You're only a doctor and not a pill master, Wei Meidai said coldly, eyes full of envy. Seeing that Wei Meidai was so noisy, Bailey Hongzhuang slightly turned and looked condescendingly at the other. Did you perhaps not know that the godly Dr. Square also sold pills? Wei Meidai paused. Of course she knew the godly Dr. Square sold pills. What's more, the price of those pills were 20% higher compared to the market value. Even though the price was so much higher, an endless stream of people still went there to buy pills. Some time ago, Master sent someone to buy a pill from the godly Dr. Square. After careful study, he actually discovered that the effect of the pills sold by the godly Dr. Square were much greater than the effect of the ones currently in the market. It was really inconceivable. Thinking of this, a trace of suspicion unwittingly flashed through Wei Meidai's eyes. Perhaps there was a chance to understand the secret of the godly Dr. Square's pill formula from Bailey Hongzhuang's own mouth. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang is the master of the godly Dr. Square. I do wonder which great pill master temporarily left them there to be sold. If someone pays a higher price, then those pills would have nothing to do with you. You're not going to tell me that the pills sold at godly Dr. Square were sold by you, right? TSK. Wei Meidai laughed, chaotically trembling like flowers swaying on a branch with ridicule and mockery written all over her face. So chaotically trembling like flowers swaying on a branch described the action of a beautiful woman when she is laughing, and I don't know how it would look like, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up into a bewitching and dazzling smile. Her alluring and perfect face suddenly became peerlessly beautiful and glamorous. The words that came out of her mouth left Wei Meidai boggled and speechless. It's rare that you are smart for once. Those airy words were indifferent yet confident. From beginning to end, Bailey Hongzhuang held the air of a great master, giving Wei Meidai a feeling of someone at the pinnacle. Wei Meidai froze, the ridiculing smile on her face dissipated into thin air following Bailey Hongzhuang's words. Impossible, impossible, definitely impossible. Wei Meidai denied strongly. According to her master, to be able to refine pills with perfect efficacy, godly Dr. Square's pills were definitely refined by great master with very high pill refining skills. If there was a chance to get acquainted, even her master would have to address the other as great master. Telling her now that Bailey Hongzhuang was the great pill master she admired, how could she accept it? Chapter 326 Ding. Tong Qingyuan hit the gong, indicating that the examination has begun and that the incense stick has already been ignited. Bailey Hongzhuang no longer paid attention to the noisy Wei Meidai beside her, directly starting to refine her pill. She had refined far too many returning chi pills, so refining it again now was just like a walk in the park. She first placed the indigo star plant into the pill furnace, the flames quickly swallowing it up. Under her watch, the indigo star plant quickly withered. Under the flames' purification, all the impurities were dissolved, leaving a fine, pure powder. Bailey Honghang then inserted another herb into the pill furnace, allowing the flame to swallow it again. The flame danced under the control of Bailey Hongzhuang's spirit power, seeming just like a jumping sprite. More and more pill ingredients were added in. Bailey Hongzhuang's actions were like moving clouds and flowing water, as if resembling nature itself. Chinese idioms, it means very natural and unforced, highest quality. The flame that was always troublesome to control was like a docile baby in her hands. Her face was completely calm, with an air like a master's. Huan Chuyo's eyes slowly changed as he watched Bailey Hongzhuang refine the pills, finally changing into a trace of awe. An expert's moves, with not a single flaw. Bailey Honghang's actions were smooth and experienced. Obviously, she had placed a lot of time and effort into pill refining. Even if it was them, their technique might not be better. Watching Bailey Hongzhuang refining the pills was like looking at a piece of art. Such calmness gave people a sense of beauty. By contrast, Wei Meidai on the other side seemed to be having trouble and was tense with fear, scared the flame would escape her control. Refining pills were a result of hard work and numerous revisions. Only after practicing many times would the difficulty fade away. The gap between the two was clear as day. Tong Qingyuan's eyes were filled with shock and admiration, Bailey Hongzhuang seriously too amazing awe. Her pill refinement techniques are like nature itself, truly at the peak of perfection. There was something Tong Qingyuan thought but didn't say. He thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's techniques were probably even better than his, but he still couldn't bring himself to say it. Huan Chuyu nodded slightly, admiration clear in his eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang really is a talent. He had seen many talents in Xingxue continent, but never had he seen one as heaven-defying as Bailey Hongzhuang. Other people, even if given 10 more years, still might not be able to get similar achievements to the ones achieved by this 10-something-year-old girl. How could others not be shocked? Gu Canyan's proud face slowly disappeared. He swallowed, not daring to believe that this was real. Now there was almost no doubt that Bailey Hongzhuang really was a pill master. If Bailey Hongzhuang passed the first-grade pill master exam, he'd lose far too much face. But right now Tong Qingyuan and Huan Chuyu were focusing intently on Bailey Hongzhuang, not paying any attention to his thoughts. After all the ingredients were purified, Bailey Hongzhuang covered the pill furnace's lid and enveloped the pill furnace in her spirit force. Turning the purified ingredients into a pill was the most difficult part. Huan Chuyu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang's calm and tranquil appearance, and he was no longer worried. The pill refinement would definitely be a success. Wei Meidai noticed her master staring at Bailey Hongzhuang as if he had seen a ghost. Her heart couldn't help but grow a bit curious as she turned back to look at her. When she saw, Wei Meidai was stunned. She had only purified the third ingredient, yet Bailey Honghang finished all the purifying and started refining. Chapter 327 SS. While Wei Meidai was shocked, there was a hiss, followed by a burning smell. It turns out, during the time Wei Meidai was distracted, the pill ingredients had actually already been burned to ashes. Wei Meidai's face instantly turned ugly. She didn't expect that just one moment of distraction would lead to her failing with the first set of ingredients. She glared at Bailey Hongzhuang angrily, only to find that Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't given her a single glance. Wei Meidai raised her head. Noticing Gu Canyan's reprimanding gaze, she didn't dare to delay and immediately picked up the second set of herbs to start refining again. Time slowly passed by. Bailey Hongzhuang's face never changed, filled with confidence. Finally, a sweet scent floated in the air as her beautiful face broke out into a smile. The pill refinement going to be a success. Huan Chuyu and Tong Qingyuan's faces also broke out into a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang was going to pass the first-grade pill master's examination for sure. Wei Meidai smelled the sweet and fragrant scent, her face becoming even more unsightly. She succeeded. Bailey Hongzhuang actually succeeded. Before she had said it was impossible for Bailey Honghang to succeed, but now she was still purifying the pill while Bailey Hongzhuang already succeeded in refining the pill. Wei Meidai's heart was in chaos. Her last trace of hope was completely obliterated. She recalled what had happened in the guild's lobby earlier. If that matter was spread out, she'd lose all her face. SS. A familiar sound echoed. Just as Wei Meidai was about to succeed in the purification, the ingredients were once more burnt to ashes. Wei Meidai's face turned ashen. From the start, she wasn't proficient in controlling the flame and adding on her chaotic heart, there was no way for her to control it well enough. Ding! Bailey Hongzhuang reached out. The pill furnace opened, a perfectly round, full pill standing in the middle. She easily picked it up and emptied it into the porcelain bottle on the table. Her movements were simple and natural. Bailey Honghang placed the porcelain bottle on the table before looking at Tong Qingyuan and Huan Chuyu standing on the high platform. I'm finished refining. Huan Chuyu and Tong Qingyuan walked to Bailey Hongzhuang's table and picked up the porcelain bottle to look inside it. One perfectly round, plump returning qi pill was placed inside it, a strong medicinal odor filling their nostrils. Huan Chuyu nodded, not hiding his satisfaction as he announced, this returning qi pill has been refined very well, so much that it can be described as perfect. Tong Qingyuan's face was also covered with approval, indeed. In that case, does that mean I'm a first-grade pill master now? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly and asked. Of course. Tong Qingyuan replied promptly. As a second-grade pill master, he was also usually chased after by everybody. But in front of the godly Dr. Bailey Hongzhuang, he didn't have the slightest bit of arrogance. Many thanks then. Bailey Honghang cupped her hands, smiling. On the other side, ignored by everybody, Wei Meidai was awkwardly standing in her original spot. The set time still didn't arrive yet, but everybody had clearly forgotten about her existence. Should she try to refine the pill again or go home and train? Bailey Honghang glanced at Gu Zhangyan, a mocking smile playing on her lips. Needless to say, her meaning was very clear. Gu Zhangyan's face flushed before waving his sleeves and leaving. We're going. Wei Meidai wasn't sure what to do and immediately left with Gu Zhangyan when she heard his words. If they continued to stay here, they'd probably only suffer more humiliation. Chapter 328. Tong Qingyuan and Huan Chuyu didn't say anything when they saw Gu Zhangyan and Wei Meidai leave. Can I continue and take the second-grade pill master examination? Bailey Hongzhuang slowly spoke of her idea. Since she already came, it was better to do it all now to avoid troubles later. Tong Qingyuan's face changed, even more, when he heard Bailey Hongzhuang's request. In his eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang at her age passing the first-grade pill master's exam was already amazing. But he hadn't expected that Bailey Hongzhuang still even wanted to take the second-grade pill master's exam as well. After seeing Gu Zhangyan lose all his face, he knew clearly that Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't a person who spoke thoughtlessly. Since she said so, she definitely had the confidence to pass the exam. Until now, he had always thought that Lu Qingyue was their only genius pill master, but now she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was one too. Plus, Bailey Hongzhuang was still also very proficient in medicine. Comparing the two, Bailey Hongzhuang's talent truly could be described as monstrous. Huan Chuyu actually wasn't as shocked. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't be compared to others, so whatever miraculous things that came from her was no longer as strange. Miss Bailey, you can't take the second-grade pill master examination now. Tong Qingyuan replied. Hearing that, Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrow, a hint of doubt in her clear eyes. Why? First we need to confer you the rank of a first-grade pill master and inform your status to the Pill Masters Guild. You can take the second-grade Pill Masters exam after you get your first-grade Pill Master's robe. Bailey Hongzhuang understood, so it's like that. Tong Qingyuan smiled faintly. The fastest speed would be around a week before you can take the second-grade Pill Master's exam. After all, not everyone's like Miss Bailey, who can do 2 examinations on the same day. His honest voice had a sigh to it. Tong Qingyuan had stayed in the Pill Masters Guild for a very long time. Directly going to the second-grade Pill Master's exam right after passing the first was something probably only Bailey Hongzhuang could do. Know that after other Pill Masters passed the first-grade exam, the number of years separating them from the second exam was innumerable. Even if it was Lu Qingyue, she also had to train a long time before passing the second-grade examination. I understand. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded gently. Then I'll come back to take the second-grade Pill Master's examination later. Under Tong Qingyuan's lead, Bailey Hongzhuang left her contact information before leaving the Pill Masters Guild. After the Pill Master robes were done, the Pill Masters Guild would deliver them to Bailey Hongzhuang. As for the second-grade Pill Master's exam, she wasn't in a hurry. As long as she verified her identity as a Pill Master, nobody can doubt the authenticity of the channel-opening pills in her hand. The reason why she came to the Pill Masters Guild was so the auction of the 3 channel-opening pills could proceed smoothly without troubles. After Bailey Hongzhuang left, Tong Qingyuan turned to look at Huan Chuyu. Old Huan, that Bailey girl really isn't a simple character. Ah. Huan Chuyu smiled faintly. Bailey Hongzhuang's movements all have the air of a master's. Her background must be remarkable. Then, should we investigate them? Huan Chuyu raised his right hand, stopping Tong Qingyuan from continuing. Whatever her background is, they aren't in conflict with us, so why do we need to investigate them? If it offends them, I'm afraid the gains do not make up for the losses. Tong Qingyuan nodded. I understand. Chapter 329. The moon was bright, only a few stars in the sky, and the wind was cool like water. Bailey Hongzhuang was cultivating in her room when a sudden burst of footsteps sounded outside. Almost immediately after, somebody knocked on her door. Hearing the familiar knocks, a trace of a smile appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Xia Jiqing knocked a few more times. Just by hearing the flurried footsteps, Bailey Hongzhuang already knew that it was her. Jiman, you came ah. Bailey Hongzhuang opened the door and welcomed Xia Jiqing inside, a clear smile on her beautiful face. How convenient, I was just about to visit you tomorrow. Now that you came, I don't need to look for you anymore. Hearing that, Xia Jiqing was startled. You were looking for me? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. Her hand reached into her space pouch, a white pill in the porcelain bottle appearing in her hands. This is for you. Xia Jiqing took the white porcelain bottle, looking at the plump, full pill inside. The gears in her brain turned as Xia Jiqing's eyes turned huge. Hongzhuang, you shouldn't give. Seeing Xia Jiqing unable to even form a full coherent sentence, Bailey Hongzhuang laughed. Don't worry, it's for you. Xia Jiqing sucked in a cold breath. When Bailey Hongzhuang had handed her the bottle, her heart already had a faint guess of what it was. But after knowing that it really was the channel-opening pill, it was still hard for her to believe. It was such an expensive pill. Ah. This is too precious, I can't take it. Xia Jiqing tried to refuse again and again. Although she had long thought of Bailey Hongzhuang as a close friend, the time they knew each other wasn't for very long. She didn't have anything, so how could she accept Bailey Hongzhuang's expensive gift? Know that ever since the auction for the 3-channel opening pills was announced, every student in the school was trying to think of every possible method to prepare for the auction. Just take it, okay? This pill is extremely useful for us right now. Xia Jiqing shook her head. I know that it's very useful, but because it's so useful, I can't take it. She sincerely thought of Hongzhuang as a friend, and so she never sought any of her riches. Bailey Hongzhuang grinned, "Shimon, you're thinking too much about me. Since we're friends, you don't need to think so much." She and Xia Jiqing didn't know each other very well but had hit it off very well. Seeing Bali Hongzhuang's earnest words, Xia Jiqing hesitated a little before accepting the channel opening pill. "Hongzhuang, in the future, if you ever need anything from me, I definitely won't refuse." She was touched by Bailey Hongzhuang's sincerity. Xia Jiqing secretly resolved in her heart if Bailey Hongzhuang ever had a time where she needed something, she'd do everything in her power to get it. "Oh right, Shimon, why did you come find me?" Bailey Hongzhuang asked, her ink-black eyes having traces of a smile. "Hey, I forgot something." Xia Jiqing suddenly remembered, "Actually I didn't come for anything really important. I just heard some really interesting news from somebody." "What news?" Xia Jiqing laughed mysteriously. "Today I heard that a new special enrollment student was coming to Azure Water School tomorrow. You also received the notification to go tomorrow, right?" Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. After she came back from the Pill Masters Guild, she did indeed receive the notification to go, but she didn't know why. A new special enrollment student? Bailey Hongzhuang was startled. Weren't me and Bai Junyu the only new special enrollment students this year? Chapter 330, that's right. We haven't heard about the existence of a third special enrollment student before. It's precisely due to this that this special enrollment student looks to be very phenomenal. Xia Jiqing's face was full of excitement. The status of special enrollment students at the Azure Water School were already extraordinary. The identity of this special enrollment student must be even more exceptional. A trace of doubt filled Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful eyes. She had never heard of any news regarding this special enrollment student before. Dongfang Yu and the others had also never mentioned it. She believed that they also didn't know that a third special enrollment student existed. Thus, this third special enrollment student really was a phenomenal existence. This isn't the main point though. The main point is that I heard that this special enrollment student not only possesses excellent strength, but is also extraordinarily handsome. Xia Jiqing arched her eyebrows, eyes full of electrifying excitement. To girls her age, nothing is more appealing to them than handsome men. Seeing Xia Jiqing's excited expression, Bailey Hongzhuang had a helpless smile on her face. Sure enough, this was the point Xia Jiqing paid most attention to. This third special enrollment student hasn't arrived yet. How would you know if he's handsome? Bailey Hongzhuang teased. Xia Jiqing blinked. Within the school, there is no lack of some well-informed students. There is a slight difference between us ordinary students and you special enrollment students. To be able to become special enrollment students, you guys must have directed all your energy on cultivating. However, we ordinary students are still very concerned with gossip, especially the female students. Since you know that, then why don't you redirect all your energy towards cultivating? Bailey Hongzhuang thought it was a bit funny. Didn't you want to get into the Pill Master course quickly? Of course I want to. Xia Jiqing gave a sparkling smile. I was in the midst of cultivating when I heard my roommate talk about it. This news was so shocking, I naturally couldn't help but listen a bit longer. Right now, everyone was very curious about the identity of this special enrollment student. You already know this. Amongst the special enrollment students, female students are most concerned that Gong Shaoqing is very close with Lu Qingyue as well as you and Dongfang Yu also having an excellent relationship. Who knows how many girls' hearts were broken? Only Bai Junyu is left. Now hearing that there is another outstanding and handsome man is coming, why wouldn't everyone get excited? Bailey Hongzhuang twitched. Dongfang Yu and I are just classmates and nothing else. It was a fact that Gong Xiaoqing and Lu Qingyue had an intimate relationship. However, there was nothing between her and Dongfang Yu. Of course I know that. Xia Jiqing nodded and then shrugged, but, the other students don't know. Senior Dongfang has always treated others gently, is affable and easygoing, and is loved by most of the female students. Ever since you became acquainted with Senior Dongfang, everyone presumed that the two of you didn't have a shallow relationship. I've heard that many senior sisters silently shed tears in the middle of the night. Master, your sin is really too grave. Little Black said emotionally. Little White nodded, feeling the same way. If Di Beichen knew, he'd definitely be jealous. Bailey Hongshuang's lips twitched. If Xia Jiqing wasn't here, she would have definitely sent those ditch-digging fur balls flying with a slap. Tien, I'm assuming she means that they are digging a hole for themselves. It can't be that exaggerated. Bailey Hongshuang felt frustrated. It looks like I'll have to pay more attention in the future. Xia Jiqing shook her head and grabbed Bailey Hongshuang's hand, looking unusually serious. Why should that matter? Senior Dongfang is a very good person after all. If you can get together with Senior Dongfang, I would be very happy for you. It's because he's a good man that you should grasp and hold on to him tightly with your own hands. Chapter 331 Watching Xia Zhiman play matchmaker, Bailey Hongshuang immediately dashed cold water on her thoughts. Stop thinking so much, I don't like Dongfang Yu how a woman likes a man. Bailey Hongshuang explained, a clear smile on her beautiful face. Seeing Bailey Honghuang's serious words, not hiding anything at all, Xia Zhiman couldn't help but stare at Bailey Hongshuang. Are you really saying the truth? You really don't think about Dongfang Sr. like a woman about a man? I don't, I really don't. Bailey Hongshuang said helplessly. Xia Zhiman sighed, her eyes filled with hopelessness. Seriously, what a pity. Dongfang Sr. would be such a good partner, but you actually don't have the slightest bit of interest. A pity, never have I met such a picky woman. Bailey Hongshuang rolled her eyes when she heard Xia Zhiman's sigh of pity. What was Xia Zhiman always thinking in that brain of hers? If you're ever interested in Senior Dongfang, then you must hold on tightly. Bailey Hongshuang grinned. Senior Dongfang is yours, I never thought like that. Xia Zhiman immediately waved her hands. Her friend's man, she would never do that. Haha. Bailey Hongshuang smiled, her eyes shining brightly. I think you and Bai Junyu would be a pretty good match. Ah. Xia Zhiman's eyes widened, that noisy guy. I'm not interested in him at all. Bailey Hongshuang smiled slightly. Xia Zhiman might not be interested in him, but Bai Junyu was definitely interested in her. Senior Dongfang's so outstanding, why don't you like him? Xia Zhiman's eyes narrowed, filled with doubt. Don't tell me that there's already somebody in your heart. Somebody in my heart. A golden figure couldn't help but appear in Bailey Hongshuang's mind. A tall and straight back, peerless talent. From the day they met, he had always been standing by her side, casting away everything just for a glance to make sure she was okay when he heard she was in trouble. Xia Zhiman was originally just joking when she asked, but seeing Bailey Hongshuang baffled, her eyes suddenly lit up. Could it be that there really was somebody already in Hongshuang's heart? Hongshuang, tell me the truth. Ah. Xia Zhiman said proudly. Bailey Hongshuang smiled slightly, it'll be clear in the future. Seeing Honghuang speak so deeply, Xia Zhiman also no longer asked. After all, some secrets you simply weren't supposed to peer into. The next day, the sun was bright and golden, no clouds in the sky. Bailey Hongshuang got up early. The message she had received yesterday said for her to get up early today to get introduced to the third special enrollment student. I wonder who the third special enrollment student is, and if they're really good enough. Ah. If they could let Azure Water School make an exception and accept another applicant, this third special enrollment student naturally can't be simple. But the demonic beast tide killed a lot of Azure Water School's talents, so it'd make sense to loosen the standards a little. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly walked holding Baisher, hearing everyone talk about the third special enrollment student on the way. When Bailey Honghaung arrived, Dongfang Yu and the others were already there waiting. They as Azure Water School's backbone had already long gotten up early to help prepare. Only Bai Junyu and Chui Haoyan didn't come due to their wounds. Bailey Honghaung, you came. Dongfang Yu smiled brightly, calling out when he saw Bailey Honghaung arrive. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly, you guys all came really early. Chapter 332 Usually when the school has morning assembly, us special enrollment students all come a bit early. You and Bai Junyu are new and do not have to do so. Lu Qingyue walked up to Bailey Hongzhuang's side, eyes slightly gleaming. Hongzhuang, I heard that you passed the rank 1 pill master exam yesterday. Lu Qingyue was Huan Chuyo's disciple. To know of this so soon, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't feel surprised and immediately nodded in admission. Your speed is really quick. Lu Qingyue chuckled. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips parted in a smile. 5 days later, I have to auction off the channel opening pill. Taking the exam earlier was to not give people any basis for attack. Have you heard? There's supposed to be a third special enrollment student coming to the school today. An expression of curiosity appeared on Lu Qinyue's delicate and daintily beautiful face. This is the first in the history of the Azure Water School. Presumably, this new student shouldn't have a simple background. Dongfang Yu arched his eyebrows, elegantly charming seductive eyes were suffused with enchanting smile. Bailey Hongzhuang gave a shallow smile, her face was non-committal. No matter how special of a background the other has, it was of no relation to her. Just when everyone was conversing with one another, the principal and vice principal slowly walked over. Good morning, principal, vice principal. Seeing the principal and vice principal, all the students greeted them one after the other. The two walked up the high platform together and looked down at the many students gathered below. Both of them showed a kind and satisfying smile on their faces. The reason we've gathered all of you here today is to introduce a special enrollment student to everyone. Principal Ren Tianxiong said, getting straight to the point. As a cultivator, he had never liked formalities and instead held to being straightforward as cultivators are. Once these words were said, a curious gaze shone in the eyes of all the students present. It looks like the rumors they heard were indeed not false. They only did not know who this third special enrollment student is. To not only be able to get the Azure Water School to make an exception, but also evoke a ceremonious introduction from the principal and vice principal was definitely not the kind of treatment an ordinary person would get. Following the end of Ren Tianxiong's words, a man slowly walked up the platform. The man was dressed in pale golden robes, statue tall and straight, numerous inky black strands held up by a white suet jade hairpiece. His peerlessly handsome face looked as if it were carved, long eyebrows extending into his hair, narrow eyes deep and profound. He stood with a graceful and elegantly wind-like demeanor. Shining gold rays of sunshine splashed on his tall and straight figure, as if he was like a god, boundlessly elegant. The audience below stared at the special enrollment student on the platform, inadvertently exclaiming at the same time. Heavens! The rumors were really true. This new special enrollment student is really a rarely seen beauty. It's the first time I've ever seen someone born with such good looks. I'm drunk. He is nothing short of my dream lover. The females in the crowd all went crazy. In their minds, Gong Xiaoqing and Dongfang Yu have always been their ideal lovers. However, Gong Xiaoqing was very close with Lu Qinyue. Also, Dongfang Yu and Bailey Hongzhuang's relationship wasn't shallow. It didn't seem like there was any hope for them. Then the third special enrollment appeared now, and he was above Gong Xiaoqing and Dongfang Yu. Different from Gong Xiaoqing's cold demeanor and Dongfang Yu's gentleness, this third special enrollment student was above due to his dignified and noble manner. It was as if he was a born aristocrat. Every gesture was enough to exude an inherent nobility, intoxicating everyone around him. Surprise emerged in the eyes of Dongfang Yu, Gong Xiaoqing and Lu Qingyue. This special enrollment student's degree of excellence was beyond their expectations. Chapter 333. Some people, even when they say nothing, do nothing, and just sit there quietly, you'd still be able to feel their remarkable presence. This special enrollment student just stood on the high platform, and a naturally grand and imposing manner had slowly started to flow out, causing the audience to not dare underestimate him. Even the knowledgeable and experienced Gong Xiaoqing and Dongfang Yu felt a bit of shock in their hearts. As they are similarly talented people, this feeling was even more obvious. This special enrollment student was definitely not simple. Below, Xianyuan Huan stared hard at the figure standing on top of the platform, eyes full of disbelief. Impossible, this was impossible. Xianyuan Huan endlessly shouted in his heart. This was definitely not real. Wasn't he cripped? Sitting in a wheelchair for so many years, how is he able to stand up now? All these years, Dibei Chen had been the object of his oppression and scathing remarks, mud that he ferociously trampled upon. Now, that mud actually had such a peerlessly elegant appearance. This was akin to a victory over him. How could there be a day he'd be able to stand up? Xiao Zifen stared blankly up at Dibei Chen. Dibei Chen was always been very famous within the imperial city. Possessing a perfect and handsome face, it was a pity that Chen Wangye was a cripple. He had seen him before. However, before his eyes was an elegant sun radiating the air of noble around him, not a bit of the dejected attitude of a cripple could be found. Xiao Zifen couldn't help but turn his thoughts to Bailey Hongzhuang, who was ridiculed by everyone all these years. Didn't she also wash away all the shame under everyone's astonished gazes, becoming a first-rate genius? His mind slowly filled with the past rumors in the imperial city, a blind with a cripple, a match made in heaven. Looking back at it now, Chen Wangye and Bailey Hongzhuang really were a match made in heaven. However, it can be said now that they are a perfect match made in heaven. Gazing at that figure in pale gold, Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful eyes were as quiet as a deep well and held a bit of turmoil, showing shock and surprise, and even a bit of pleasant surprise. Dibei Chen had always told her that after he finishes dealing with his business, he'd come to look for her. Only, she didn't think that Dibei Chen would unexpectedly use this kind of method to appear before her. Azure Water School's special enrollment student? It couldn't be that. He wants to stay at the Azure Water School and cultivate, right? Dibei Chen came. Yeah, he really gets people excited. He definitely wasn't assured about letting Master stay here by herself. Little Black and Little White excitedly bounced around. Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that two round balls were rolling around on the top of her head. Her lips involuntarily twitched a bit. Did these two still have the sense that they were supposed to be pearl ornaments? If the people next to her saw the pearls on her head rolling around, wouldn't that give them a shock? Fortunately, everyone's attention was still focused on Dibei Chen and no one noticed this point. I am Dibei Chen and I am much honored to be a part of the Azure Water School. With a magnetic voice that was deep and mellow, handsome eyebrows that held a clear smile, Dibei Chen did not conceal the gaze that was staring directly into the crowd at Bailey Hongzhuang. The white dress upon her body was tranquil and beautiful. Standing amongst the crowd, she still shone like a star. It was as if she was a luminous night pearl, dazzling and captivating. Noticing Dibei Chen's gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slightly curved, eyes glowing with a dazzling smile. Bei Chen similarly curved his lips into a smile, handsome and extraordinary. Both staring at each other with a smile, no words were necessary for them to understand each other. Chapter 334, I'm sure everyone already knows about the demonic beast tide that happened on Luoyun Mountain. Many of Azure Water School's students have died due to that. Ren Tianxiong's face was heavy. Usually when students left for practical training, they would go to Luoyun Mountain. Nobody expected this rare, once-in-a-100-year demonic beast tide to happen. This was the first time in history Azure Water School had so many student casualties. His mood was very dark. In the audience, the students all nodded. They knew clearly that the situation was very serious. The students they've studied and cultivated alongside died just like that, no longer able to return. All of the students were emotional. After I and the vice principal talked it over, we've decided to make an exception and accept one more special enrollment student, and now we're telling this to everyone. Ren Tianxiong spoke slowly. This was the only solution to Azure Water School's current situation. All of the students revealed expressions of understanding. Azure Water School had always upheld incredibly strict standards, so there was never a lot of students. After the demonic beast tide, there were even less students. Under such a situation, it was already good being able to get one more student. Ren Tianxiong and Huan Chuyu only made the decision after several days of consultation. Although taking in another student now was a bit different from normal, it still adhered to their strict standards and filled an important gap. The light in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes was complicated. The principal and vice principal really had thought a lot about this. Gong Xiaoqing, Bei Chen's room will be given to you to arrange. Huan Chuyu looked at Gong Xiaoqing. Gong Xiaoqing nodded his head, I understand. Huan Chuyu nodded slightly before turning to Dong Fangyu, you should bring Bei Chen around to let him familiarize himself here. Don't worry, vice principal. Ren Tianxiong talked a little bit more before leaving with Huan Chuyu. When the two left, the originally quiet field suddenly became incredibly lively. The females all stared at Bei Chen, they were too curious. Gong Xiaoqing was already taken and they had no hope to be with Dong Fangyu. They must hold on to the new student, Bei Chen. There were no lack of brave women in the crowd filled with hope towards the tall, handsome Bei Chen. Bei Chen, do you have a girlfriend? Crash. Hearing this, everybody fell into an uproar, roars of laughter appearing in the crowd. With so many women in the crowd, there was no way to know who did it. Xia Jiman's face was startled, I never thought our Azure Water School's women were so bold. But this Bei Chen really is as I heard, his looks don't lose to Dong Fangyu or Gong Xiaoqing at all. Xia Jiman's excited face rested on Bailey Honghang's shoulder, don't you think so? Bailey Honghang smiled lightly and didn't deny it. Bei Chen was always outstanding, even more outstanding than outstanding in a normal person's eyes. Dong Fangyu and Gong Xiaoqing also stared at Bei Chen interestedly. As fellow men, it was especially obvious to them that Bei Chen was truly an outstanding male. So, they were very curious about Bei Chen's reply. Chapter 335 A bit of curiosity was also seen in Lu Qingyue's beautiful eyes. She had always thought that Brother Gong had been outstanding enough. However, with one glance at Bei Chen, she felt that he was uniquely different. It was as if he was beyond the bounds of the earthly world. To sum it up, perfect. This was the result of the combination of nobility and godliness. Lu Qingyue didn't know his true strength, but from the confident smile on Bei Chen's face, it was not difficult to guess. He was definitely not weak. Hongzhuang, do you think that Bei Chen has a sweetheart? Xia Jiqing didn't even attempt to hide the curiosity in her heart, turned her head towards Bailey Hongzhuang and asked. Just as everyone looked at Bei Chen with curiosity, interested in how he would answer, Bei Chen's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. His elegantly thin pink lips curved into an evil smile. Bei Chen's gaze held a bit of craftiness. Looking at Bei Chen's smile, Bailey Hongzhuang instinctively felt this turn of events wasn't at all good. Perhaps. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was preparing to sneak off quietly, Bei Chen's voice suddenly rang out. My apologies, but I already have a wife. Once these words left his mouth, the place once again rose to a clamor. The words boggling everyone's minds. Although there was no lack of cultivators who already had a wife here, outstanding men like Bei Chen usually married a bit later. Moreover, to be able to get Bei Chen to admit it so readily, it's probable that Bei Chen is completely satisfied with this wife. Dongfang Yu's expressively seductive eyes had a hint of a smile. This new special enrollment student is really frank, haha. Saying this, Dongfang Yu's eyes involuntarily looked towards Gong Xiaoqing and the others. When he caught sight of the slightly strange expression on Bailey Hongzhuang's face, a frown creased his forehead. Bailey Hongzhuang, what's the matter? Lu Qingyue and Xia Jiqing heard the question and also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, hesitantly asking, Hongzhuang, this is? It was when Gong Xiaoqing noticed the way Bei Chen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang that he had a faint premonition. Apparently, Bei Chen and Bailey Hongzhuang knew each other. Bei Chen's answer undoubtedly hurt many girls who were full of anticipation. Such a handsome and extraordinary man was hard to come by at the Azure Water School. Unexpectedly, he was already married. Isn't this cutting off all their desires? It was unsure if it was because Bei Chen was too outstanding or if this female student was deliberately joking. A voice once again rang out. Then, do you have any intention of taking another wife? As these words faded, the loud noise rose from the audience. Even the male students held the attitude of waiting for a good show to unfold. In the Xinjiang continent, polygamy was a normal thing, even more so with outstanding men. Having a few pretty wives following by his side was a very normal thing. However, Bei Chen had only just arrived at the Azure Water School. No one had the slightest understanding of Bei Chen, and yet there were already women who want to be intimate with him. It really made people endlessly sigh. Bei Chen's lips curved into an unrestrained evil but elegant smile. Without saying a word, he walked off the platform and slowly walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang. As for that, it would depend on if wifey allows it or not. Immediately after and in front of everyone's shocked gazes, Bei Chen came up to Bailey Hongzhuang's side and embraced her shoulders with one hand. Bei Chen's smile was warm, pure and elegant. It was like cherry blossoms in spring, soft and intoxicating. Wifey, is what I said correct? Bei Chen's words were like a bomb exploding in the blink of an eye. All the students present stood still, mouths open in shock, staring at Bei Chen and Bailey Hongzhuang uncomprehendingly, wondering if they had just heard wrongly. Chapter 336. Xia Jiqing stared blankly at Bei Chen, who stood beside Bailey Hongzhuang. Just a while ago she had even humorously made a bet with Bailey Hongzhuang, saying that Bei Chen didn't have a wife. Never would she have thought that the wife Bei Chen just mentioned was Bailey Hongzhuang. The situation changed so quickly that she couldn't follow it. Lu Qingyue was stunned and stared at them in astonishment. This was truly unexpected. Neither Dongfang Yu or Gong Xiaoqing's expressions were any better. Before Bei Chen had said anything about it, they would have never associated Bailey Hongzhuang with Bei Chen. Dongfang Yu was dumbfounded. He had previously inquired a lot of information about Bailey Hongzhuang, but hadn't heard anything about her being married. Everyone's attention was all on Bailey Hongzhuang. To find out whether or not this was true, they would have to hear Bailey Hongzhuang's answer. Bailey Hongzhuang helplessly gazed at the bright attractive face in front of her. From the moment this guy appeared, she knew something like this would happen. Explain. There wasn't an explanation in the first place. Deny it? This was the truth, so how could she deny it? Since there was no other way, she could only acknowledge it. What do you think? A flicker of slyness flashed by Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful eyes. If you are willing, then I don't have a problem with it. Although Di Bei Chen threw the question to her, she wasn't willing to become the fiend who broke the hearts of many young women, therefore why not just throw the question back at him? When they heard Bailey Hongzhuang neither disagree or agree, the onlookers couldn't ignore the fact that Bailey Hongzhuang was Di Bei Chen's wife. The discovery crushed all of the ladies in the academy. Before, Dongfang Yu had been everyone's male idol, but who would have known that when Bailey Hongzhuang joined the academy, she would be so close with Dongfang Yu, breaking the hearts of everyone. Finally a new male idol appeared, moreover this was only his first day, yet he was already Bailey Hongzhuang's husband. Those who struck first prevailed, while those who struck late suffered. But wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang's striking speed a bit too fast? Couldn't she let us live? Couldn't she let us reminiscence our male idol? At this moment, not only were all the female students heartbroken, the male students who admired Bailey Hongzhuang were also distressed. Bailey Hongzhuang was their new female idol. Who would have known that Bailey Hongzhuang had already been caught by Di Bei Chen's evil claws? Now they didn't have any chance left. How is he the academy's special enrollment student? He clearly came to the academy to look for his wife. Noticing the twinkle of cunningness that lashed by Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes, Di Bei Chen's eyes, dark as black jade, filled with indulgence and yearning. When he first saw Bailey Hongzhuang, she had the same slyness as she reached out her hand, asking for 100 gold coins as reward. And now looking at her, still as cunning and adorable as before, standing in front of him, there was an unexplainable feeling in his heart. Fortunately, she was safe and sound. If wifey says it like that, this husband will be sad, smiled Di Bei Chen devilishly. You are the only one in my heart, no one else can replace you, nor enter my heart. The onlookers watched as Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Bei Chen extravagantly showed their affection. The whole square was filled with the sound of shattering hearts. Must they go so far as to publicly flirt with each other? This proclamation of love was basically cutting of any hope they had. Completely exterminating the fantasy in their hearts. Chapter 337, Sad Dongfang Yu. LOL. I had to translate the title, tongue sticking out. Xia Jiqing looked at Di Bei Chen's face filled with deep, doting love and finally understood why Bailey Hongzhuang never liked Dongfang Yu romantically. Because, there was already an even better man in her life. Although she didn't know anything about Di Bei Chen or his circumstances, right now she truly felt as if Di Bei Chen and Bailey Hongzhuang was a match made in heaven. Di Bei Chen's appearance was bright and handsome, filled with confidence, while Bailey Hongzhuang was stunningly gorgeous, her beauty almost unreal. The golden and the white figure interweaved together brought forth an unspeakable sense of harmony. She believed that with how amazing Hongzhuang was, her husband absolutely couldn't be a nobody. This new special enrollment student definitely must be extraordinary. Bailey Hongzhuang felt uncomfortable as she listened to Di Bei Chen's corny words. This guy really paid no attention to their location before he spoke. Dongfang Yu stared at the perfectly matched couple, Di Bei Chen and Bailey Hongzhuang beside him. Nobody knew when the smile in his seductive eyes sorrowfully faded away. The gentle smile in his face had disappeared, replaced by a deep sadness. It was as if the warm and sunny day suddenly turned rainy. There wasn't the slightest bit of sun left, only gloom and sadness left behind. Dongfang Yu didn't know why, but the two seemed to be a bit unpleasant to the eyes, making his heart feel a bit stifled. Dong Xiaoqing's iceberg face was impassive as always, but a subtle wave appeared in his calm eyes when he heard Bailey Hongzhuang confirm their relationship. The sudden series of events had far exceeded his expectations. It was a development that nobody expected. Lu Qinyue's lips stretched into a big grin, but before anyone noticed, her face had already relaxed into a slight, joyful smile. Dibei Chen, since you're a new special enrollment student, how about I arrange your room next to Bailey Hongzhuang's? Dongfang Yu quickly concealed his sadness, a gentle smile appearing on his face like nothing happened. As special enrollment students in the same year, Dibei Chen was supposed to live together on the same floor as Bailey Hongzhuang and Bai Junyu. Although Dongfang Yu hid his emotions very quickly, Dibei Chen still managed to catch it. He nodded his head slightly, then thank you very much. It seemed like his Wang-Fei's charm really wasn't small, even attracting Dongfang Yu who never loved anyone. As the early meeting finished, the Azure Water School students slowly left. Before they came, their hearts were filled with anticipation. After they left, they were completely heartbroken. Now that they no longer had any hope, continuing to stay was meaningless. Xiao Zifen slowly walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang. After all, since he knew them and Dibei Chen was here, he should greet them. Chen Wangye. Xiao Zifen cupped his hands in greeting. I didn't expect that you'd also come to Azure Water School. Before, although he heard about Dibei Chen, they've never actually met. He knew that the Chen Wangye now was very different from the previous Chen Wangye. Now he could stand up, and was no longer the Chen Wangye that everyone could bully. Besides, Azure Water School wouldn't choose incompetent people. Dibei Chen had managed to become a special enrollment student of Azure Water School. That in itself was enough to prove his strength was outstanding. Thinking up to there, Xiao Zifen's heart was filled with a myriad of emotions. He wondered, what faces would the people in the imperial city make when they saw what statuses Bailey Honghang and Dibei Chen had now. Chapter 338 Dibei Chen's gaze fell on Xiao Zifen's body. From He Mu's mouth, he had already understood how Xiao Zifen and Hongzhuang became acquainted. Towards the matter of Zifen standing with Bailey Hongzhuang against the pack of hell wolves, Dibei Chen was very appreciative and satisfied. Dibei Chen's thin lips raised slightly. Hongzhuang is here. Naturally, I have to come here as well. Xiao Zifen gave a slight smile. He had heard early on that Chen Wangye and Chen Wangfei's relationship was good. Seeing it today, it truly lived up to the rumors. Standing not far from Xiao Zifen and Dibei Chen, Xianyuan Huan looked at them as they conversed. His heart still had not calmed down from the shock he felt before. How did this Dibei Chen resemble the one cripple that he had originally bullied? In those 3 years, Dibei Chen had never stood up before. How could he suddenly stand up now? Could it be that? When Dibei Chen suddenly left, it was to heal his leg injury. Xianyuan Huan's mind flashed through a myriad of possibilities, feeling that it was harder and harder to believe. It seems that he had to quickly pass this news back home. He may as well confirm it. Dongfang Yu and the others heard Xiao Zifen's address towards Dibei Chen, surprise slowly entering their eyes once again. Chen Wangye. Xia Jiqing's eyes were opened wide in shock. Dibei Chen is a Wangye. Xiao Zifen nodded, that's right. He is Chen Wangye. Even though you would consider yourself to be a student after arriving at the Azure Water School, Wangye and Wangfei were still very distinguished identities. The corner of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved. Towards this identity, she did not care about it too much. She was a lady of the general's household for 15 years, was that identity not distinguished enough? In fact, she had survived under the spite and trampling of others for 15 years. It is precisely for this reason that towards this identity, she had never cared at all. Dibei Chen similarly didn't know how to deny it. Towards this identity of Wangye, he had never thought of it as glorious. Rather, it was humiliating. However, with Bailey Hongzhuang and Dibei Chen having an indifferent, even disdainful, attitude towards this, it made them appear even higher in everyone's eyes. To hide such an obviously distinguishing identity for so long, it could be seen that their dispositions were extraordinary. Dong Fangyu felt tumultuous emotions rolling around like a stormy sea in his heart. Before, when he had looked into Bailey Hongzhuang's situation in the general's household, he had not inquired about what happened after she left. It turns out that the Bailey Hongzhuang of today was not the young lady of the general's household anymore, but was Feng Bo country's Chen Wangfei. Bailey Hongzhuang, Dibei Chen had just arrived at the Azure Water School. I'll leave it to you to show him around. We'll return first. Dong Fangyu had a gentle gaze, lips holding an intoxicatingly seductive smile, not letting others see any trace of his inner thoughts. Listening to this, Bailey Hongzhuang stopped for a moment to consider Dong Fangyu's words and then nodded, very well. Even if she went back now, Dibei Chen would still come looking for her. Just as well, she also had a few matters to talk about with Dibei Chen. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's candid reply, Dong Fangyu felt a block form in his heart. It caused him to immediately find an excuse to leave. Gong Xiaoqing watched Dong Fangyu's retreating figure and also turned to look at the completely unaware Bailey Hongzhuang, showing a complicated expression on his face. He had been Dong Fangyu's friend for many years, how could he not know what the latter was thinking in his heart? Brother Gong, thinking of it, Hongzhuang and Dibei Chen haven't seen each other for a long time. They must have a lot they want to talk to each other about. Shouldn't we leave first? Lu Qinyue's charming and delicate face held a light warm gentle smile, her voice containing an even more light-hearted smile. Gong Xiaoqing nodded silently, then we shall leave first. Chapter 339, Hongzhuang, Xiao Zifan and I are going now, hee. Xia Jiqing winked excitedly at Bailey Hongzhuang. A short separation breeds new love, them staying here would only be a hindrance. Bailey Hongzhuang noticed everyone's ambiguous eyes but didn't say anything. She knew that right now, even if she tried to explain, nobody would believe it. So, it was better not to explain at all, or else everybody might misunderstand. Seeing everyone wink as they left cleanly, Bailey Hongzhuang was helpless as she turned to face Dibei Chen. Is your business finished? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. From what she understood, since Dibei Chen wasted 3 years in Feng Bo country, there should have definitely been a terribly difficult, big mess for him to deal with. But Dibei Chen didn't take long at all. Was all his business really completed? If it really was, his efficiency was truly something If I didn't come back, I'm afraid wifey would have ran away with somebody else. Dibei Chen grinned, his low and magnetic voice filled with charm as he said teasingly. But, his dark and beautiful eyes had a trace of hard-to-describe seriousness. Bailey Hongzhuang was struck dumb, this guy was truly shameless enough to say everything. Such a normal sentence, but why does it sound like the red apricot tree leaning over the garden wall? Idiom, a cheating wife xd little black and little white glanced at each other. As expected of Dibei Chen, hee. Baisher in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms also popped his head out to glance at Dibei Chen. This was only the second time he had seen Dibei Chen, the first was when he was just born. But thinking of that now. It was too embarrassing. Baisher lowered his head, snuggling back into Bailey Hongzhuang's arms. It was a very shy animal. Nonsense. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately refuted. She knew that the 2 fluffballs on top of her head were definitely laughing at her. Dibei Chen's eyes brightened as he listened to Bailey Hongzhuang, his grin growing wider and wider. So you mean that even if I'm not by wifey's side, wifey will still care about me? Bailey Hongzhuang was once again stumped for words, glaring at that evildoer's face furiously. It was a pit. It was a huge pit. Dibei Chen had really calculated it well. No matter how she answered, she'd still fall for his trick. You think too much. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed, a cold light beginning to appear in her eyes. Dibei Chen was completely unaware, the smile on his face only growing even more brilliant as he stared at Bailey Hongzhuang tenderly. He tightened embraced her with his hand. Today is truly a good day. Your husband feels very happy to see wifey again. Bailey Hongzhuang noticed Dibei Chen's hand on her shoulder and couldn't help but ask, your hand, can you let go? Dibei Chen raised an eyebrow. At first he didn't want to release her, but then seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's cold face, he quietly let go. Ew, whatever wifey says, your husband will naturally obey. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned lightly, aren't you getting a bit too into the play? I'm not actually your wife. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang words, the smile on Dibei Chen's face faded somewhat, a trace of seriousness appearing in his eyes. You don't want to be my wife. Dibei Chen's beautiful eyes were filled with remorse as if he was thinking about how Bailey Hongzhuang was unhappy when he called her his wife. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.